Yo legends! Welcome back to the channel. Grab your headphones and lock in, because today's story is on another level. Want the next chapter? Drop a comment below, and if the legend continues, I'm bringing it straight to you. Disclaimer: I do not claim ownership of this story. All rights belong to the original creators. Note: I'm constantly tweaking the settings to make it as immersive as possible. Dragon Ball: Reforming the Future. Chapter 1: Dragon Ball. Chapter 1: Dragon Ball. Drink. In a martial arts gym, a young man was sweating profusely against the sandbag in front of him. This young man had a resolute face and fine muscles. His legs were tied with tens of kilograms of weight. At this time, his fists whirred as they hit the sandbag. After a while, the young man steadied his horse and kept punching his fists. The sweat all over his body had already soaked his clothes. After punching and kicking, the boy leaned over and did another 200 push-ups, only stopping when he completely ran out of strength. The young man turned around, breathing heavily. 2 years later, I am no longer what I used to be. I can actually do some things. The boy was an ordinary person on Earth. His only specialty was his knowledge of the two-dimensional world. In an accident, he had a car accident and traveled to this world. This boy's original body was named Tang En. When his family moved to the West capital from other places, they were attacked by monsters and died, thus allowing a certain otaku from another world to travel through time. The day after Tang En traveled through time, he knew what world he had traveled to. Yes, it was the Dragon Ball world, wandering between the daily level and the nightmare level. After a moment of shock and doubt, the cat-headed king in front of the TV told him that this was not a dream. I want to ask, apart from Dragon Ball, in which other world does the king have a big cat? There must be excitement. After all, being able to become a glorious time traveler after death is something that everyone wants. But after getting excited, Tang En began to worry deeply about his future. Tang En knew that ordinary people in the Dragon Ball world also lived relatively peaceful lives. Excluding the danger of the Earth exploding, most people can survive relatively peacefully, and even if they die, they can be resurrected on a large scale. Of course, excluding Trunks' parallel world. However, as a loyal fan of Dragon Ball, Tang En would never allow himself to live his life like a passerby. After all, who wouldn't want to experience the kind of power that could destroy the world and destroy the world? After some research, Tang En discovered that unlike other fellow time travelers, he did not have any golden fingers, no system, and no kung fu master. Even his physical body was a complete Earthling. This is very telling. Not to mention golden fingers, even if the body Tang En gets is just that of a low-level Saiyan, and even if his strength is only 1 when he is born, Tang En will not be discouraged. I believe that with my understanding of the Saiyans and their training methods, not only can I crush Son Goku and Vegeta, but I can at least become a Nobita fan. However, the reality is so cruel. In the Dragon Ball world, the bloodline issue is really like a mountain pressing on all people on Earth. In the later stage, it was completely the stage of the Saiyans, and the people on Earth were ruthlessly deprived of even the qualification to play soy sauce. After resting for a moment, Tang En stood up with a somersault, stretched his muscles and made a crackling sound. Tang En touched his stomach. He was hungry. After leaving the room, Tang En entered the second floor of the martial arts hall, where everyone was eating. Speaking of which, after entering this world, Tang En obviously felt that his appetite had greatly increased and he ate a lot. He didn't know whether it was because of regular training or because of his physical condition. Because of this, Tang En often imagined that he was actually a Saiyan at first. So Tang En would look at the moon every full moon and look at his butt in the mirror to see if there were any traces of a long tail. He almost jumped off the building to test his ability. Can't be dying to become stronger. It wasn't until half a year later that Tang En fully accepted that he was just an ordinary Earthling who could eat. Maslow, bring me a lunch. It's the same as before. Okay, senior brother Tang En, come right away. It has been 2 years since Tang En came to this world, and he is now 15 years old. When he first joined the Tianyi martial arts school 2 years ago, he was just a thin child. But since he started exercising, he found that he became stronger unconsciously. If he hadn't accidentally thrown a stone more than 100 meters away a year ago, he would never have discovered that he had become much stronger than in his previous life. Tang En didn't have a combat power detector, and he didn't know how to use Kai to sense the strength of his strength. But none of this could affect Tang En's judgment on his own strength changes. Tang En discovered that although the world of Dragon Ball is a world with super high combat effectiveness, the ordinary Earthlings in it really don't know anything about cultivation. They basically rely on their own strength determined by their innate conditions, and few people will work hard to cultivate. Thinking back to the time when Klin only practiced with the Turtle Immortal for less than a year, he already had dozens of combat effectiveness. Although Tang En did not dare to say that he could practice faster than Klin under the guidance of the Turtle Immortal, after 2 years of training, Tang En can also feel that he has undergone earth-shaking changes. At least, the number of combat power must be double digits. As early as half a year ago, no one in this Tianyi martial arts gym could defeat him. Tang En lowered his head and bit into the large ham in his hand, quickly ate the 2 large bowls of rice on the table, and then finished the meatloaf made by an unknown monster in front of him with unsatisfied taste. He was leaving here today. Tang En thought about his plan and walked to the old hotel owner's room while humming a tune. The old gym owner's name was Fungus. He often gave Tang En guidance in the early days of his cultivation. When he learned that Tang En's parents were both dead, he once exempted Tang En from food expenses, which made Tang En very grateful. Tang En knocked on the door and then directly entered the old hotel owner's room. Huh? Nobody? The old owner was injured when he was young, and when he got old, the root of the disease was taken away. He couldn't move a leg anymore. He usually wouldn't go out too far, so Tang En sat aside and waited for the old owner to come back. Being bored for a moment, Tang En randomly performed a few sets of punches and did push-ups for a while. Tang En turned over and lay on the ground wondering if he wanted to do it again tomorrow. Suddenly a ray of light flashed, and Tang En suddenly felt his eyes were dizzy. He subconsciously moved his head to avoid the bright light. After the light faded, Tang En looked like the source of the light, which was roughly on the chandelier above. Tang En felt that the ball in the chandelier looked familiar. When he focused his distracted eyes on the ball, Tang En suddenly jumped up and stood up immediately. Dragon Ball! Orange, round, with stars and glows! Exclamation! Isn't this Dragon Ball? Tang En immediately jumped up and pulled the bead off the chandelier. Really? 1, 2, 5 stars. This is the 5-star. Tang En couldn't believe that there was a Dragon Ball hidden in the old hotel owner's room. Yes. I remembered that in the comics, Bulma already had 2 Dragon Balls when she first met Goku. Bulma is now 16 years old, which is only about half a year before the plot begins. If I remember correctly, Bulma's first Dragon Ball should be the 2nd planet. Bulma found it from his home warehouse, so this Dragon Ball must be the 2nd one. But I remember that Bulma found this Dragon Ball in the valley. Could it be that it will run into the valley in the past few months? Unable to figure it out, Tang En simply gave up thinking. Previously, Tang En was still thinking about how to meet the eldest lady of the omnipotent group. In the early days of time travel, he himself was in the western capital, so naturally he wanted to find Bulma, a talented girl. But when I arrived at the universal group, I found that I couldn't get in at all. There were a lot of artificial intelligence verifications in front of the door, and I was not allowed to be outside. Now that he has this Dragon Ball, there is no need to go there. Bulma will come to find him by himself. Tang En planned to go to Bayazi Mountain today to meet his childhood idol. With this Dragon Ball, Tang En can do a lot more things. How should I put it? I am a newbie and have a new book. After much thought, I still want to tell you something. The main reason why I write about Dragon Ball is that I really like this anime and every character in it. When I was a child, I fantasized about having some stories of my own with the characters in it more than once. Now that I have time, I certainly don't want to give up. What I want to do is to describe the story of a normal three-dimensional character arriving in the two-dimensional world. Therefore, you can also call this book Things About Traveling to the World of Dragon Ball tilde finally. I still hope everyone will support me. Let me make it clear that this article is purely Dragon Ball writing, not unlimited streaming. End of this chapter. Chapter 2 Rising Plan. Chapter 2 Rising Plan. Thump thump. There was a sound of wood hitting the ground, and the old owner was seen slowly walking towards his room. Tang En, what do you want from me? The old host, Mu'er, pushed open the door, leaned on a cane, looked at Tang En in the room and said. Tang En saw the old owner coming and immediately spoke. Grandpa, I'm here to say goodbye to you. I'm leaving the martial arts gym today. I may leave Zidu in a while. Thank you for taking care of me these days. I will definitely come to see you again. The old owner slowly entered the room, leaning on a cane. Leave in the blink of an eye. You have been here for 2 years. Time flies so fast. The old owner put down the crutch in his hand and slowly sat on the chair. Yes, thanks to Grandpa's guidance in the past 2 years, I am now able to do some of the things I want to do. The old owner smiled and looked very kind. Okay, it's good to come out. Young people should go out and make a fortune. Grandpa, I have a request. Tang En said to the old owner: Grandpa, can you give me this bead? I need it very much. Oh, this bead. I remember I picked it up a long time ago. I remember it would shine from time to time, so I put it on the chandelier. Take it if you want, it's just a decoration to me. Tang En was overjoyed and quickly expressed his gratitude. Thank you, Grandpa. I will definitely come to see you when I have time. The old owner fungus cannot move one of his legs. It is said that it is due to tissue necrosis caused by the impact. Tang En made up his mind that if he got the fairy beans in the future, he would definitely give one to the old restaurant owner to help him recover and repay the food expenses for the past 2 years. Tang En returned to his rented room. The inheritance left by his physical parents had been almost spent by Tang En, but fortunately it was enough. Tang En moved a table in the room and opened a dark box from under the table. This was exactly what Tang En had made. Tang En opened the dark box and took out a universal capsule. There are 2 notebooks in the capsule. One of the 2 notebooks uses simplified Chinese characters from the past life to record various plots about the Dragon Ball world. It is something Tang En recorded because he was afraid of forgetting it. The other is something he simply made in the past 2 years' plan. Tang En opened the plan book. In the past 2 years, Tang En used his free time to think hard about his development route. First of all, Tang En made a clear positioning for himself. He is not as good as Sun Wukong because he has not thought about how he can use the body of an Earthling to crush various Super Saiyans in the later period. Maybe the Earth Dragon Balls can help, but Tang En doesn't think it can solve everything. Super Dragon Ball, you have to be able to get it. Tang En listed 2 things he wanted in his notes. One was super high combat power, and the second was a wonderful life. Needless to say, there is no need to mention combat power. No one in this world does not want to have the power to destroy the planet with a single movement. If possible, Tang En will definitely want to fight the next big boss. The second one was also what Tang En really yearned for. Compared to this, Tang En was not too obsessed with being the strongest in the universe. He is not a Saiyan, he is hot-blooded and aggressive, and he does not want to work hard to surpass Sun Wukong and solve all the disasters for the Earth. Not to mention whether I can do it or not. Even if I can do it, it may not be as good as Sun Wukong, so why should I worry about this? What's more, in a world as magical as Dragon Ball, there are countless ways to become a strong person, but there is no end to the road to being strong. After Kaioshin there is the god of destruction, and after the god of destruction there is the angel, and after that there is the great priest, the king who knows what will come next. Tang En believes that it is a blessing to have a group of friends who can think about him, so that they can try their best to resurrect him after his death. Tang En also read a lot of Dragon Ball novels in his previous life. He believed that even if he did not have a golden finger, even if he did, and as a Saiyan, with his current mental level, he would not have the confidence to defeat Sun Wukong completely, unless that finger is too thick to bear to look at. However, in the early stage, the gap between Earthlings and Saiyans is not irreversible. Tang En made up his mind that at least until laddies came to Earth, he must be in the first echelon of Z warriors. After all, compared to others, Tang En's greatest advantage is that he has a unique concept. Tang En can use the Dragon Balls to benefit himself. However, other Z warriors absolutely disdain to use external forces to improve themselves, especially people with Tianjin Fan's personality. Therefore, Tang En's first plan to rise was to use Shenron to change his bloodline and make himself a Saiyan. In addition, demon blood, frozen demon blood, and artificial human blood were all mentioned. However, this is just a guess. After all, the gap between races cannot be changed by changing it. I don't know if Shenlong has this ability. The second plan was what Tang En had guessed. In Dragon Ball, the biggest reason why Goku is always one step ahead of Vegeta, apart from the protagonist's halo, is that Goku has many famous teachers throughout his life and has many skills. For example, Sun Wukong, Kame Sennin, Kylan Sennin, Bobo, Shen, Kaiwing, Atra, and Weiss all taught Sun Wukong earlier. In the end, Sun Wukong's ability to comprehend the ultimate self-consciousness skill may also be related to this solid foundation. So the second point is to find the most powerful teacher in this universe, that is, Weiss, to see if he can break his own limiter. Although it sounds difficult to let the angels teach you, considering the characters of the experts in the Dragon Ball world, this is a method. The third point is the Super Dragon. There is no need to say more about this next. Several ways to rise are listed one after another, all of which come from some mysterious places, such as the Flame Mountain, the Demon Realm, the Underworld, and various other places. But you have to try it. After all, Tang En made his own guess based on the brain-dead netizens in his previous life. I don't know if it is feasible, but what is certain is that if you plan seriously, there will be absolutely no problem in becoming a strong person among the people on Earth. It would be better to get to know the protagonist group on this basis. And these are what Tang En wants. He already likes the characters in Dragon Ball. Characters such as Sun Wukong, Bulma, Vegeta, and Krillin are all his favorite characters. He even thought that if he got a soy sauce role like Tianjin Fan or Yamucha in the end, it wouldn't be in vain for him to just marry a beautiful woman like Bulma and no. 18 and wait until death. Time travel once and with this unscientific worldview, these are not impossible things. Tang En looked at his height of 1.7 meters in the mirror. With his well-proportioned and strong figure and sunny face, apart from his childishness, he was more handsome than, at least as far as Tang En was concerned. He had rarely seen anyone more handsome than him in the past 2 years. You must know that Tang En is only 15 years old at the moment, and he may not be what he will be like in a few years. Not to mention others, that genius nymphomaniac girl is still doing this. No matter what, let Bulma give me a flying car, Tang En thought. First of all, you must not forget the daily practice. Then, after you find Bulma, you must find a way to make her a combat-powered detector. After all, this thing is really necessary. It is undoubtedly a bug level when there is no concept of Kai in the early stage. Then he went to find the Dragon Balls with Bulma, and finally used the dragon to make a wish. This was very crucial, as it was related to his entire early development. At the same time, the saved wish was wasted. Tang En was lying on the bed, thinking about the future direction. It's done in one go, but before signing the contract, please keep updating every day. End of this chapter. Chapter 3, Bulma and the Combat Power Detector. Chapter 3 Bulma and the Combat Power Detector. Early the next morning, Tang En got up early on time and immediately turned over to check if the Dragon Ball under the bed was still there. Seeing that the Dragon Ball was still there, Tang En couldn't help but giggle, picked up the 5-star ball and wiped it with his hands. The Dragon Ball was smooth and cold to the touch. Tang En weighed it before starting a new day of training. At this time, the genius girl finally discovered the Dragon Balls in her warehouse, and after research, prepared to make a radar for the Dragon Balls. 3 months later, knock knock knock, is anyone home? A girl with a light purple scorpion tail knocked on Tang En's room. She held a round instrument in her other hand and shouted into it. Tang En, who was training with weights, took a breath and said secretly, "Coming." Since Tang En trains all day long, the money he earns from carrying goods every day is only enough to feed himself. So after Tang En left the martial arts hall, he moved to the edge of the western capital, which was convenient for him to practice alone. There was no one next to Tang En's house, so there was no doubt that the person who came to see him was Bulma. "Come in. The door is unlocked." Tang En took off his turtle shell, rinsed it casually, put on his clothes and came to his living room. At this time, the girl was looking around. "It really is her," Tang En said secretly. Bulma also discovered Tang En at this time, and saw that she immediately stood up blankly. Her face was red, and her eyes wanted to turn into heart shapes. Then he turned around, covered his face, and started to enjoy himself crazily. "Oh, how did you know I was coming, and why did you take a shower? It's really annoying. He's not ready yet. Should I refuse later, or should I pretend to refuse and accept him?" Tang En was embarrassed. It was true that seeing it was better than seeing it. I didn't expect that Bulma in the early days was really as nymphomaniac as in the comics. "This lady, who are you?" Although Tang En knew it himself, he still had to ask. "Hey, just call me Bulma." "What should I call this handsome guy?" Bulma turned around, clasped her hands together, leaned on the left side of her head and said to Tang En, "Just call me Dun." I saw Bulma jumping next to Tang En, squeezing Tang En's arm with her hands, and then shouted loudly, "Wow, those are real muscles. I wonder if Mr. Tang En has a girlfriend." It's so different from her character as a genius scientist. Seeing Bulma's reaction like this shows that he is indeed very charming. This feeling, well, it doesn't matter. MS. Bulma, I wonder what brings you here. Tang En quickly changed the subject. He had long wanted to collect Dragon Balls and prepare to make a wish, so he asked immediately. "Oh, that's right, I found the speed in our warehouse. And according to my investigation, there are 7 such beads. If you collect all 7 beads, you can summon the dragon and fulfill any wish you have." After saying that, he took out his 2 planets for Tang En to see. "By the way, Mr. Tang En, do you have such a bead here? My radar shows that another dragon bead is nearby." Tang En secretly criticized Bulma's setting. He was obviously very smart, but he revealed the secret of the Dragon Balls as soon as he opened his mouth. Fortunately, neither the original Sun Wukong nor himself were murderers, otherwise Bulma would have died at the beginning. Putting aside these messy thoughts, Dun immediately replied, "Is this a bead? I do have one, but can this thing really fulfill any wish?" "What do you mean? Are you doubting the judgment made by a genius girl like me?" Bulma put her hands on her hips and said angrily to Tang En, as if she was insulted. Tang En quickly shook his head and said to Bulma, "Miss Bulma, I have no doubts about you, but I want to ask you something. As a reward, how about I give you this Dragon Ball? Then you have found the right person, let's talk. No matter what, everything is taken care of by me. I just want you to help me make a combat power detector, a device that can detect the enemy's strength and location. The more convenient the shape, the better. The specific unit is calculated based on the value of 5 for an adult man. This should not be difficult for you, to be honest." Tang En didn't know if Bulma could make such a device at this time. A combat power detector. This is the first time I have heard of such a thing, but I am confident that I can make it. Bulma thought about it seriously and found that it was a very attractive project, so she agreed to Tang En's request without saying a word. But if I make this detector, in addition to the Dragon Balls, you have to agree to one request of mine. That is to protect me from finding the remaining 5 Dragon Balls. After all, you can't bear to watch me, a weak woman, running around outside. Bulma opened her eyes and said pitifully. As soon as Tang En heard that it was exactly what he wanted, he immediately agreed to Bulma's request. Magnum Group Tang En followed Bulma to Bulma's house. This time, the eldest lady of the Universal Group came forward, and none of the robots outside the door stopped him. Moreover, Bulma also set up identity permissions for Tang En, which means that from today on, Tang En can also enter and leave the Magnum Group at will. Ho ho ho, there's a handsome boy at home. Are you interested in going on a date with Auntie? Mom, Tang En is a guest at home. How could you do this? Bulma said angrily. Oh, little Bulma, are you angry? Oh, that's such a pity. Our date may have to be moved to next time, handsome boy. Tang En stood aside. Bulma's mother, an NPC across the world, would say this to everyone she met. So Tang En stayed at Wan Nang Group for half a month. During this period, Bulma saw Tang En's weight-bearing training method and even made a piece of weight-adjustable clothing for him. Dang, Tang En, look, I've made it, your combat power detector. Tang En was overjoyed and quickly went over to look at this exquisite instrument. Bulma, you are truly a genius girl, you actually did it. Bulma was very happy to see Tang En praising her, as if it was a matter of course. Tang En tried to open it to Bulma to check. After a beeping sound, the screen displayed a 2. Tang En nodded. It seemed that the unit was correct. Then Tang En faced himself, and as the instrument panel jumped, the number on it quickly jumped to 2 digits and then stopped at the position of 14. Wow, you are actually as tall as 14. Tang En, you are so awesome. When Bulma made this instrument, she had checked some of the creatures. Their largest dinosaur only had a combat power of 9. Now Bulma was not worried about the rest of the journey at all. To be honest, Tang En is not satisfied with his current strength. After all, he has been practicing with all his strength these years, but in the end he only has a combat strength of 14. Sure enough, a teacher is so important. If he didn't know where Kame Immortal was, I'm afraid Tang En would have gone to find him long ago. However, thinking that Sun Wukong's strength is now only about 10, Tang En can't help but feel a little proud. At least he is stronger than Wukong now. Within this half-month, I have to say that Tang En and Bulma have become a good pair of friends. After all, Bulma is a typical white, rich and beautiful woman. Apart from being a nymphomaniac, she has all the advantages in her body, so it is difficult for people to dislike her. To be honest, Tang En is like most people at present, with determination, but lack of perseverance. Assuming that this is an unknown world, Tang En estimates that it will be difficult for him to train every day for 2 years. Only when he had expectations and knew that he could do anything in this world through training, did Tang En develop a perseverance far beyond that of people in this world. Therefore, as long as you are a normal person, you will not wrong yourself for the so-called plot. No fool would want a beauty like a nympho/genius scientist/world's richest man to fall from the sky. Tang En just wanted to say one thing at this time. I'm sorry Vegeta, you'd better continue the tragedy. I uploaded the cover yesterday. I made it myself and spent more than half an hour tinkering with it. I feel more tired than writing a book. As for the heroine, it should be Bulma. The reason is for no other reason than that I like it. If I put myself in Dragon Ball's shoes, it would be difficult not to be moved by Bulma. The heroine is not original, and no, 18 is a good match with Kellen, and it is too late, let's just Bulma. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. After the combat effectiveness detector was ready, Tang En and Bulma prepared a large number of universal capsules. The capsule contains a house, a car, a series of daily tools and food. After getting ready, the two followed the guidance of the radar and headed in the direction of Bayazi Mountain, looking for the next Dragon Ball. In a car, Tang En was sitting in the passenger seat. Originally, Tang En was going to drive, but Bulma insisted on showing off her driving skills, so the driver's seat was given to her. The car drove for 3 hours and Bulma was in high spirits. Tang En did start to feel drowsy and soon fell asleep. "Twain, we are almost there." Bulma turned her head to look at Tang En and found that he was asleep. Then she turned her head again and slowed down the car. Then Bulma just turned a corner and then looked down at the radar. Just as Bulma raised her head, she found another figure in front of her, and she was carrying a big bird on her back. "What?" Bulma yelled and stepped on the brakes hastily, but still bumped into this figure, causing him to fly far away. "Twain, Tang En, wake up quickly, I bumped into someone." Tang En woke up quickly and rubbed his eyes. Such a coincidence, bumping into Sun Wukong again immediately after. Tang En looked at the figure that flew out. He was dressed in blue, with a stick tied behind his back and a hairstyle with a hedgehog head. He was obviously Monkey King. But shouldn't the prey behind it be a big fish? How did you become a big bird? Remembers these little details very well. "Don't be afraid. I'm here." Tang En pulled Bulma and comforted her. "I saw little Wukong in front of me, stood up and said through gritted teeth, "You hateful monster. Are you trying to steal my prey? I won't let you succeed." Then he was about to come over and teach this hateful car a lesson. When Tang En saw this, he immediately said to Sun Wukong, "Hey, wait a minute. We are not monsters, this is just a misunderstanding." Unexpectedly, little Wukong didn't listen at all, and instead prepared to lift the car and throw it away. Tang En was startled, and he quickly carried Bulma out of the car. Bulma hugged Tang En, and when she got out of the car, she quickly prepared to attack Sun Wukong with a gun. Dun stopped Bulma's actions because he knew it was useless. Saiyan's physiques are just unreasonable. Son Goku's current combat power of 10 can resist such a small caliber pistol. What a monster. Huh? 2 more monsters came out of the monster's belly. Little Wukong put down the car, raised the wish stick with both hands, and said to the two, "Ah, monster, if you want my prey, come here, I will accompany you." Bulma was very scared and kept trembling close to Tang En. "Twain, what kind of monster is it? Help me teach him a lesson." "Don't be afraid, he is a human, leave this matter to me." Tang En walked towards little Wukong and saw little Wukong standing ready, always ready to deal with the enemy's attack. Little brother, we are not bad people, it was just a misunderstanding. My name is Tang En. Behind me is my friend Bulma, we are not monsters. What's your name?" "My name is Sun Wukong. Aren't you here to snatch my food?" "Really!" exclamation. It was so smooth to meet Sun Wukong so soon. Little Wukong circled around Tang En a few times, then put down the wishful stick in his hand and said to Tang En, "You and I look alike. You are the first human beings I have seen besides my grandfather. Grandpa often said that if you meet a girl, you must be gentle. Are you a girl?" "Wukong, I'm a boy like you, and Bulma next to me is a girl," Tang En said. Little Wukong was very surprised when he heard this. He quickly ran to Bulma, gave her a few laps, and said with disgust, "Huh? You look so weak." With Tang En here, Bulma was no longer afraid of this child and shouted loudly, "I'm a girl, of course I'm weaker." Tang En took the opportunity to use the detector to test Sun Wukong's strength. It was exactly as he imagined, 4 points lower than him. "Hey, that's weird, why don't you have a tail?" Little Wukong on the side spoke. He looked at his tail, then at Tang En and Bulma. Before they could reply, he pointed at the car and said, "Did you catch this monster?" "It's not a monster, it's called a car," Bulma said from the side. "Huh? A car? So this is a car, I know. If you know how to drive, you must be the people in the city that Grandpa mentioned. Yes. Okay, come and sit at my house, I'll give you a special treat. After little Wukong finished speaking, he lifted the big bird on the ground and pointed in one direction. Hey, Tang En, if the direction of his home is that way, that's exactly where the Dragon Ball is. Bulma came over and said to Tang En, "That's great. Let's go to his house and sit together." Soon, the group arrived at Wukong's home. Just a moment. Little Wukong opened the house and suddenly saw the Dragon Ball in the room light up, so he ran to the Dragon Ball. Grandpa has spoken. Huh? Isn't your grandpa dead? Dragon Ball. Bulma grabbed the Dragon Ball and found that it was the fourth ball. She shouted to Tang En, look, it's a Dragon Ball. Hey, don't touch Grandpa. Little Goku grabbed the Dragon Ball and said to Bulma, Grandfather, yes, this is the only relic left by Grandpa to me. I saw Grandpa glowing just now. He must have something to tell me. Tang En said from the side, Wukong, this thing is actually called Dragon Ball, look. Tang En took out the 2 Dragon Balls he had obtained and said to little Wukong, it's Grandpa. Do you have 2 Grandpas? No, these are called Dragon Balls. As long as you collect 7 of them, you can summon a dragon. Any wish can come true. Little Wukong looked at Tang En and murmured, Dragon Ball? Yes, the light just now was the resonance of these Dragon Balls. Tang En put the 3 Dragon Balls together, and sure enough, they emitted a burst of light. Can any wish come true? Little Wukong squatted down and looked at the 3 Dragon Balls and said, yes, it is said that many years ago, someone used the Dragon Balls to become a king, but it has been a long time. Now the Dragon Balls have been scattered all over the world and people need to collect them all again. Bulma continued, are you here to collect Dragon Balls? I can't give them to you. This is what Grandpa left for me. Upon seeing this, Tang En said to little Wukong, why don't you come with us to find the Dragon Balls? By the way, go outside to practice, that way you will become stronger. Get stronger. Can you become as strong as Grandpa? Of course. In addition, you can also encounter many things, including dinosaurs, monsters, cities and the sea. Don't you want to go and see them? Sun Wukong really started to think about it, with excitement in his eyes. Wow, it looks very fun. Then I'll go and take a look. Although Bulma didn't know why Tang En brought this child with him, he had achieved his goal anyway, so he didn't say anything more. Moreover, this child was surprisingly powerful and might become a helper. This chapter is a bit bland, the purpose is to bring in an original Wukong. Both of them are my protagonists, and their state of mind and growth will be written from scratch. Please be patient and watch. I have almost figured out the rest of the plot in the past 2 days. End of this chapter. Chapter 5 Tang En and Amp #039's Strength. Chapter 5 Tang En's Strength. Monkey King really agreed. The 3 of them were driving very fast in a car, and little Wukong shouted in the car in a very novel way. Soon it was evening, and the 3 of them were ready to have a night's rest. Wow, can your universal capsule even create a house? Little Wukong was very curious. Of course, otherwise, why would it be called a universal capsule? Bulma said proudly, and then threw out a capsule. There was only a bong sound, and there was an extra house in an open space. Tang En entered the room and turned on the power switch. Little Wukong ran in quickly and said in surprise, wow, why is it as bright as daytime here? Wukong, this is called the electric lamp. You can sleep downstairs tonight. Bulma and I will go upstairs. Wukong didn't respond, just ran around the room curiously, and finally stared at a TV. Seeing that little Goku seemed to understand nothing, Bulma came up with the idea of playing a prank. Bulma picked up the remote control and turned on the TV, and a monster suddenly appeared on the screen. Wow! Little Wukong was frightened and hurriedly took a few steps back and took out his wishful stick. After looking at it for a long time, he realized that it was a fake. Ha 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 ha, Bulma laughed, finding the brat very funny. Wukong, are you hungry? Tang En took out some bread and handed it to Bulma and little Goku. Well, this thing called bread is not delicious at all. After taking a bite, little Wukong got down from the stool and picked up his wishful stick. I went outside to find something that would give me strength. What? Where are you going? Bulma asked. Little Wukong didn't answer and ran out quickly, leaving behind a message. I'll be back soon. What? Tang En, this kid is really strange. He actually has a long tail. Do you think he is a monster? It should be a special race. I don't know very well. Tang En ate the rice in the bowl and said vaguely that for him, unlike Sun Wukong, he just needed to be full. Every Tang En ate very quickly. He vaguely remembered that little Wukong would meet the Pilaf trio this time, but he couldn't remember it clearly. He didn't know if it would happen again. Soon, Sun Wukong came back, carrying a wolf and a big centipede. Wow. What are you holding? Go away. Bulma saw that the centipede in little Goku's hand was still moving, and she couldn't help but shout loudly. Even Tang En's mouth twitched. Although he had heard that this kind of thing was very nutritious, if he was asked to eat such a large centipede, which was tens of centimeters long, he might as well forget it. Eh? Don't you like eating? Then I'll eat it myself. Wukong took his prey outside and roasted it while saying to the two people inside, Are you really not going to eat it? I'm going to roast it. After Tang En had eaten, he rinsed his body and began to prepare for practice, which was to subconsciously sense his own breath. This was a practice that Tang En had only started recently. Although Tang En is still very weak, with the help of the detector, Tang En can always feel the changes in his strength, which is very helpful for sensing the aura. Bulma went to take a shower and then looked at a magazine with interest. I'm full. Wukong came in at this time and patted his belly, feeling very full. Wow, so soft. Little Wukong jumped on the sofa and rolled back and forth. Hey, Wukong, you haven't washed your body yet. The bathroom is over there. Tang En pointed in a direction and said to Wukong. Unexpectedly, Wukong didn't respond and just said to Tang En: Twain, you must be very strong. I want to compete with you. Little Wukong jumped down and punched a few times on the spot. I'm ready, Tang En. When Bulma saw little Goku challenging Tang En, she immediately said, You kid, Tang En has 14 points of combat power. How can you beat him when you are so young? I am already 14 years old. Little Wukong said loudly. As expected. You are very strong. I really want to fight you. Tang En couldn't help but smile when he heard little Wukong reporting his age. He knew that Sun Wukong was actually only 12 years old now, but now he didn't know how to do math and thought that after 11 years old, he would be 14 years old. Okay, Wukong, I accept your challenge. Let's go outside. Tang En moved his body and said to Wukong, You're willing to fight me? That's great. Little Goku was very excited and ran outside quickly. Bulma was also curious and quickly followed. Tang En, be careful not to hurt Wukong. When Tang En heard this, he secretly wondered how this was possible. Saiyan's steel and iron bones were no joke. Don't worry, Bulma, a person's strength can't just be judged by statistics. The two got into a stance and Wukong launched the attack first. Little Wukong jumped up and attacked Tang En crazily, saying ta da da da. Tang En faced little Wukong's attack and kept blocking the fist shadow in front of him with his hands. Seeing the intensity and method of Sun Wukong's attack, Tang En couldn't help but sigh at the power of Saiyans. They are really born warriors, and even their bodies are developed to better maintain their fighting power. The childhood and adulthood periods are particularly long, and the body in the two periods can be completely transformed almost within a few years, just to ensure the best fighting condition. When he was young, he was small and nimble, and at the same time played a role in camouflage and confusion for lower-level warriors who were assigned to low-level ball games. When he grew up, he could achieve a period of explosive power, and if he and Goku were at the same level of strength, I'm afraid he could only rely on earthly martial arts skills to deal with such a scion. However, after all, Tang En is now older and more powerful than Sun Wukong, and neither of them currently knows all kinds of advanced martial arts skills. No matter how much power little Wukong exerts, it is difficult to hit Tang En, and he is completely defeated by Tang En. When little Wukong's attack stopped, Tang En began to counterattack like raindrops, attacking little Wukong with sharp punches. In the end, little Wukong didn't check for a moment and was knocked away. Yechijiji, little Wukong cried out in pain and climbed up. He didn't take it seriously, but ran over with an even more excited attitude. He suddenly stepped forward and punched, his feet bursting with power, his footsteps thumping, and he nimbly rushed towards Tang En. The continuous punches were extremely powerful, hitting Tang En with a mighty force. Tang En had rarely seen such a flexible and vigorous fighting style. He was about to dodge and at the same time raised his hand to fight back. But his breath was unsteady, his movements were a beat slower, and he was directly punched by little Wukong. Boom! Exclamation amid the muffled sound, Tang En took 2 steps back. Taking advantage of his height and strength, Tang En held down little Wukong's shoulders and tripped, causing little Wukong to stumble. Then the foot bones exerted force, and it was hard to control the force, and they hit little Wukong directly on the head. Ya jai 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 jai. Little Wukong covered his head with his hands, tears streaming down his face, and said to Tang En, "It hurts." "You are really strong, Tang En. Just say you can't beat Tang En, huh? How about that?" Bulma taunted with her hands folded on the side. Tang En was a little worried just now. He was not strong enough. The blow just now had no strength, and it still hit his head. Then was still worried, but little Wukong just covered his head, and then jumped up and down again. There is only one sentence in his mind, MMP, and he doesn't know whether to say it or not. Victory was already expected, and even if he couldn't beat Goku, he could still find his weakness, which was his tail, so this battle was a sure win. Little Wukong scratched his head and smiled. He didn't care at all. He patted the dirt on his body. Perhaps feeling sleepy, he ran into the house and fell asleep in less than half a minute. Second floor of house. Tang En looked at Bulma on the side, thinking about the innocent little Wukong, resting his arms on his head with his head. At this moment, Tang En felt extremely satisfied, and his heart was filled with longing for the future. At this moment, Tang En is not even afraid of all kinds of powerful villains in the future. At this moment, Tang En thought that he had something he could protect and someone he could rely on. No matter how difficult the future would be, at least he would have a group of partners to advance and retreat together. I suddenly want to add another chapter. End of this chapter. Chapter 6: The Lost Yamucha. Chapter 6: The Lost Yamucha. On Ugh. Don't eat me, I don't taste good at all. A scream woke up Tang En and Bulma. Tang En opened the window and found Sun Wukong holding a big turtle. "Ah! How dare you, a turtle, steal our food, you thief! I'm going to stew you and eat you." When Bulma heard that it was a thief, she quickly checked her Dragon Ball. After finding that it was not missing, she breathed a sigh of relief and followed Tang En downstairs. "What happened? Goku? He's a thief." "I'm sorry. I'm really hungry, and I haven't drank seawater for a long time." So it turned out that little Wukong noticed something moving in the house during his morning exercise. When he went in to check, he found a turtle rummaging through the refrigerator, so the fight started. "Oh tilde, it turns out I'm just hungry. It's a joke. Why would I, Miss Bulma, embarrass a hungry turtle?" Instead of pursuing the turtle's behavior, Bulma used salt and kelp mixed with water to keep the turtle well fed. Little Wukong saw this and asked very curiously, "What is a turtle?" Is it really not delicious at all? The turtle was startled and said in panic: I come from a small island in the sea, and I ended up here because I got lost. It's really not delicious. Little Wukong patted his face and said excitedly: so that's it. I'm not interested in bad food at all. The turtle breathed a sigh of relief, seeing that the three of them didn't look like bad guys, so he said hesitantly, I come from the sea in the east. Can you help me send me home? I will let the immortals repay you well. Before Goku could answer, Bulma became anxious. How can this work? Tang En, we still need to find the Dragon Balls. How can we care about this turtle? The turtle said the Dragon Ball is to the east. Isn't this the same path we are taking? Upon hearing this, Bulma turned on the radar and reluctantly agreed. Little Wukong, who was already very enthusiastic, immediately carried the turtle and left immediately. The three of them walked for a long time and finally arrived at the seaside. Tang En put down the turtle and entered the sea. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please wait a moment. After a while, the turtle crawled over with a fashionable old man on his back. Good afternoon. The funky old man jumped down. I heard you saved the turtles. Grandpa, who are you? Little Wukong asked curiously. I am Kame Sennin. Tang En was slightly excited. Kame Sennin, Goku's first real teacher. However, this old man has many magical abilities. Thinking of this, Tang En immediately put aside his distracting thoughts to avoid being aware of his thoughts. Who saved you? Turtle Immortal asked the turtle next to him. It was these two little brothers who carried me here, Immortal. Oh, really? Thank you for your hard work, little brothers. I will give each of you something as a gift. Grandpa Kame Sennin, I don't need any gifts. Can you give me a bead like this? Tang En took out a Dragon Ball and said to Turtle Immortal, Oh, I picked up this bead a long time ago. If you want it, I'll give it to you. Don't regret it. Turtle Immortal took off the Dragon Ball from his neck and gave it to Tang En. Bulma was very excited to see Tang En really get the Dragon Ball. As for this little brother, well, Tilda, I'll give you this. Come out. Phoenix. Huh? Phoenix? What is a phoenix? Wukong asked. Of course it's a bird that doesn't die. Is there really such a thing? Bulma looked expectant. After a while, the turtle carefully reminded the turtle sage who was posing. Sage, the phoenix died of food poisoning last year. Everyone present was stunned. Turtle Immortal coughed. He's dead, so that's it, so be it, come out. Some assault cloud. After a while, a yellow cloud floated over and stopped in front of Turtle Immortal. This is a somersault cloud. Only people with pure hearts can sit on it. Wukong asked curiously, how do you eat this? This is not for food. If you sit on the somersault cloud, you can fly freely in the sky. It's great, isn't it? Amazing. Little Wukong was so excited that he jumped directly onto the somersault cloud and jumped on it again and again. What? Except for Tang En, everyone was very surprised that a person could actually sit on a cloud. At this time, Little Wukong was flying rapidly in the sky on a somersault cloud, very fast. After a while, Little Wukong flew down and said to Turtle Immortal, Thank you, Grandpa. Ah, I didn't expect you to conquer the somersault cloud so quickly. Turtle Immortal wiped his sweat. Hey. Goku got the somersault cloud, Bulma and Tang En got another Dragon Ball, and everyone was happy. The three of them continued on their way until evening, opened the universal capsule and transformed into a house. They just waited for a night's rest before continuing their journey. 3 days later, Tang En and the others arrived in a desert, and by this time they had found the 5th Dragon Ball. At the same time, he also gained an additional companion, Oolong. With Tang En's help, the three of them easily helped the villagers get rid of Oolong's trick and obtained the Dragon Ball. In order to prevent Oolong from continuing to harm others, or rather Oolong took the initiative to ask Tang En to take him away. One more person was added to the small team. What? Are you going to Frying Pan Mountain? Are you trying to save your life? That is the territory of the Bull Demon King. When Tang En was checking the destination, Wulong happened to see him. Wulong thought of the reputation of the Bull Demon King and immediately trembled, even thinking of running away. Who is the Bull Demon King? Is he very powerful? Little Wukong asked curiously, and then he took out the wishful stick, stepped forward and waved it, with a look of eagerness to try. I really want to compete with him. Wulong ignored little Wukong's movements and gesticulated hurriedly on the side, fearing that others would ignore his words. That's the Bull Demon King, the king of Frying Pan Mountain. He's a famous bandit. Wulong shivered on the sidelines, while secretly thinking about how to escape from this group of ignorant people. Little Wukong didn't care and smiled innocently aside. Tang En knew about the Bull Demon King part, but what Tang En didn't expect was that Yamucha, a very important character in the early stages of the original work, did not appear. The desert is so big, it is estimated that it just happened to go astray, and I am afraid that it will miss it, but this is not a big problem. Tang En knew that Bull Demon King was a disciple of Turtle Immortal and later became Wukong's father-in-law. As for his fighting ability, he must be stronger than himself now, and at least 30 or above. Bulma stood aside, raising her head slightly, crossing her arms, and mocked Oolong Kolan, you are a coward. We have the protection of Tang En and Wukong. Are we still afraid of him as the Bull Demon King? You stupid woman, you know nothing about the terror of the Bull Demon King! If you want to go, you can go on your own. I, Mr. Oolong, won't accompany you. Oolong showed fear on his face and said he was about to run away. He, Oolong-sama, still wants to live for 2 more years. Bulma looked confident, and when Oolong left the room, she shouted loudly, beep, beep. Sure enough, after a while, Oolong came back with a look of exhaustion. He said bitterly to Bulma, you hateful woman, what on earth have you done to me? HMPH, you took the beep medicine I gave you. If you dare to run away again, I will definitely let you continue to have diarrhea, hahem. Bulma was very proud, while Oolong had a grimace on his face and dared not speak out in anger. He just changed his target and kept telling Tang En how powerful the Bull Demon King was, telling them to take a detour and so on. However, Tang En knew the details of the Bull Demon King, so naturally he didn't want to say anything more, so he had no choice but to give up. When I collected the first batch of Dragon Balls, I planned to let the protagonist follow the plot a little bit, so that this experience could be his own, and then I kept the story original. I will try to publish this plot as quickly as possible, maybe 4,000 to 5,000 words a day, and I can't publish too many words during the novice stage. I've been working on it for a few days, and I've saved some manuscripts, so there shouldn't be any interruptions. I hope everyone will vote for it. Authors who have not signed a contract are just a little panicked. End of this chapter. Chapter 7 Fun Fried Rice Trio. Chapter 7 The Interesting Fried Rice Trio at Night. Tang En clicked on the combat power detector. If someone broke into a distance of 100 meters, the detector would sound, and it had become Dun's habit to do so. In this kind of desert, the detector usually goes silent, but today it rang. Tang En did not disturb Bulma, nor did he ask little Goku to help. Because judging from a combat effectiveness value, he can completely cope with the 2 targets revealed. Tang En tiptoed outside the room. After a while, Tang En saw 2 figures coming to the side of the house, lowering their heads and saying something. Tang En looked from another angle and found that there was a bomb in the hands of the 2 men. Now Tang En could not stand still and walked over immediately. The 2 lowered their heads and spoke into a walkie-talkie. Lord Pilaf, we have found our target. After only listening to a signal from the walkie-talkie to carry out the mission, the 2 were ready to place the bomb next to the house. Tang En, who was on the side, witnessed this scene, and then recalled that these 2 people should be King Pilaf's men. Thinking of the usual operations of these 3 teasers, Tang En was a little speechless, but he still liked these 3 funny characters. And what is certain is that the technological capabilities of these three people cannot be underestimated. Xiao Wu on the side urged, Axu, hurry up. If someone finds out later, how will you report to King Pilaf? He said and gave Ash a push. Don't push me, look. Ashu turned around and continued to say to Xiao Wu, it's okay now, the bomb is stuck to your hand, ouch. Put it away quickly. I want to too, but I just can't move. Why are you so stupid? It's not your fault. Tang En, it's a pity that the bomb sticks to your hands. Do you need me to help you? At this time, Tang En came out and said to the two of them, Ah, no, thank you. Hey Tilda, I've been discovered. Ozzy yelled and climbed on top of Xiao Wu. The two of them ran away quickly, still trembling after they stopped. Tilda, luckily it's not the kid with the stick. Hey, if you know what's going on, hand over the Dragon Ball quickly. King Pilaf will definitely give you a lighter sentence. Xiao Wu on the side felt courageous and threatened Tang En. Tang En didn't say anything. He knew that these two people asked the turtle immortal and thus knew that several of them had Dragon Balls. I just don't know when they met Wukong. You must know that Wukong has been with them these days, but it doesn't hurt. Tang En quickly ran to the side of the two, first tore apart the bomb and then destroyed it. Then, they punched each of the trembling two unconscious, and they probably won't wake up tomorrow morning. Clean and tidy. It's a pity. If King Pilaf comes, we can take back the one-star Dragon Ball. Looking at the two people lying on the ground, Tang En lifted them up and placed them under a tree in a nearby valley, and then left. Early the next morning, Tang En and his party left for Frying Pan Mountain. No one noticed that two people wanted to snatch their Dragon Balls at night. In a speeding car, Oolong was still muttering to the side: HMPH, I don't care about you anymore. I'm just here to watch you being torn into meat pies and eaten by the terrifying Bull Demon King. No one paid attention to the mistake, and a group of people quickly shuttled through the desert. Half a day later, a flaming red mountain came into view. There was a castle on the mountain, but it had already been engulfed and surrounded by flames. Even though he was still far away, he could still feel the temperature of the flames in the distance. Is this the Frying Pan Mountain? It really lives up to its reputation. Tang En on the side lamented that after obtaining this Dragon Ball, the only one left was the one belonging to King Pilaf. Thinking of this, Tang En couldn't help but feel a little inappropriate about letting go of Xiao Wu and Azu too early. If he had known that they could have taken him directly to Pilaf to retrieve the last Dragon Ball, sitting there waiting for others to snatch it was really uncertain. Bulma seemed very happy. With Tang En here, she felt very safe. Now Bulma is no longer obsessed with collecting Dragon Balls because her wish has been fulfilled, and now she just regards collecting Dragon Balls as an interesting adventure. Cyan, whether I can move forward in sync with you depends on the Dragon Balls. It was not that Tang En was not confident, but that Tang En's memory told him the reason why he had no confidence. At that moment, Tang En clenched his fists and looked at Wukong, who was about to fall asleep beside him, his eyes becoming firm. After waking up Sun Wukong, Tang En pulled Bulma and moved forward carefully. After all, with his current strength, he would definitely not be able to defeat the Bull Demon King, so of course he had to be careful. Oolong on the side found that he was the only one left, still in the territory of the Bull Demon King. He immediately panicked and hurriedly caught up with Tang En and others. God bless. God bless. Oolong took one of little Wukong's arms and kept chanting. Little Wukong felt uncomfortable all over and said to Oolong, Oolong, don't be like this. I can't even walk like this. Click! Tang En stepped on a branch, and the combat power detector showed that the Bull Demon King was behind everyone, with a combat power of 30 points that was particularly conspicuous. Soon, this target was slowly approaching everyone. Tang En didn't want to capsize in the gutter, so he turned around and shouted loudly, Bull Demon King. Everyone was startled by Tang En and turned around hurriedly. I saw a 3 to 4 meter tall man standing behind everyone holding a giant axe in his hand, wearing a mask on his head and a pair of fierce horns. New Demon King? Oolong wanted to lie on the ground and pretend to be dead. Damn little devils, are you here to steal my treasure? Don't you know my reputation as the Bull Demon King? The Bull Demon King stood aside and asked the crowd fiercely, "Are you the Bull Demon King? I want to compete with you." Little Wukong showed no fear and spoke to the Bull Demon King seriously. Then he drew out his Rui stick and prepared to attack. "Huh? Rui Bang, where did you get this thing?" "Ah, this is a relic left to me by my grandfather." "Who is your grandfather?" Little Wukong didn't understand why and felt that this person was very strange. Instead of fighting with him, he asked him who his grandfather was, but Zhou Wukong still replied, "My grandfather's name is Sun Gohan." "Ah, it's really Brother Gohan. I wonder if your grandpa is okay now." "My grandfather is dead." "How could it be? Is Brother Gohan dead?" Bulma was relieved when she heard this. After all, not having to fight was the best option. What, it turns out that everyone is on their own, causing me to worry all the time. It really pissed me off. Sorry, I thought someone was trying to steal my treasure. Fortunately, this little brother stopped me. The Bull Demon King thanked Tang En. Watching this 3-meter tall strong man scratching his head and giggling, Tang En couldn't help but feel very amused. "Uncle Bull Demon King, we are here to look for beads like this. I wonder if you have any here," Tang En said. "I seem to have some impression of such a bead, but my treasure house is surrounded by flames and I can't take it out now." The Bull Demon King looked at Longzhu, thought about it carefully and then said, "Ah, what should we do? If we do this, we will never get the Dragon Balls." Bulma said dejectedly, "Don't be anxious, Wukong, you go find Grandpa Turtle Immortal now. He has great powers and will definitely be able to find a solution," Tang En said from the side. "What? Do you have any news about Master Gixionren? I haven't seen him for a long time." The Bull Demon King suddenly became excited and continued to say to the crowd, "If an immortal comes, there is no problem in extinguishing the flames." Bulma didn't expect that thin and wretched old man to be so powerful. But out of trust in Tang En, I was still willing to believe this unreliable old man. "Wukong, I have a daughter named Kiki. I can ask her to accompany you to find Master Gixionren." Then he told Zhou Wukong where Kiki was, and Zhou Wukong happily agreed after hearing this, and shouted to the sky, "Some assault cloud. Then I'll go find Grandpa Turtle Immortal first, bye." Little Wukong jumped on the somersault cloud, responded to everyone, and then disappeared. "Wukong, remember to take me to say hello to Master Kame Senin." The Bull Demon King raised his voice and said to Wukong in the distance. At this time, in a castle, the beeping sound from the machine kept ringing, and at the same time, it was mixed with bursts of angry roars. "Isn't the Dragon Ball radar ready yet? Waste. Xiao Wu on the side was frightened and said hurriedly, "King Pilaf will be cured soon." King Pilaf stamped his feet anxiously and said to Xiao Wu, I don't care. I must see the Dragon Ball radar when I count to 10, otherwise, I will feed you to the crocodiles." Xiao Wu was shocked and quickly turned around to work, only to see King Pilaf start shouting, 1, 2, 5. Xiao Wu turned around quickly and said to Pilaf, "King Pilaf, what do you want to eat tonight?" "Huh? Let me think about it. What should I eat? Hamburger with poached eggs, pudding, pizza. What time am I counting?" The little one doesn't know, ah damn it. I have no choice but to count again. 1, 2. Xiao Wu turned around again and said, "Ting Pilaf, there is a super cute waiter coming to a store on Bade Road." "Ah, really? Is it really cute?" Ha 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 ha. Pilaf's mouth was drooling, and a man was giggling beside him. End of this chapter. Chapter 8, Destructive Strike. Chapter 8, Destructive Strike. In order to extinguish the fire at Fried Bread Mountain, Goku and Kiki came to Kame Senin's place. The two people sat on some salt clouds and soon arrived at Kame Senen's island. After some discussion, Kame Senen was successfully invited by Goku to the Fried Bread Mountain. Master Wu Qian, long time no see. The Bull Demon King ran up to Turtle Immortal with heavy steps and kowtowed heavily several times. Gui Xianren leaned on a cane, and the dark sunglasses flashed away, and said to the Bull Demon King, Bull Demon King, your reputation is very bad. I heard that you killed many people to protect your treasure, right? The Bull Demon King did not dare to raise his head, so he quickly responded and answered honestly: Master is right. This disciple feels very ashamed that he is actually driven by desire. However, I will change my mind in the future. As long as the fire can be extinguished, it doesn't matter if I throw away the treasure. Looking at the scene in front of him, Wulong said in surprise, how amazing. Even the Bull Demon King has to apologize to this old man. Tang En didn't take it seriously. After all, he knew best how powerful Kame Senen was. Before Piccolo came out, he was definitely at the top level. At this time, after listening to the words of the Bull Demon King, Turtle Immortal put his hands behind his back and slowly said: Forget it. Fortunately, I collected it so hard. It would be too wasteful to throw it away. But you can't even deal with the small fire by yourself, you are so useless. After finishing speaking, before anyone could react, Kame Senen suddenly approached Bulma, changed his image of a senior expert, and said with a vulgar expression, Hey ho ho ho, we haven't seen each other for a few days. Miss Bulma has become even sexier. What if Tang En had a look of helplessness on his face, but at this moment he wanted to ask for help from this old man, so he had no choice but to get close to the face of the Turtle Immortal, gave a capsule to the Turtle Immortal, and secretly said to the Turtle Immortal: Master Wu Qian, I specially prepared this for you. It is definitely of high quality. I saw Turtle Immortal listening with interest, and accepted the universal capsule without ceremony. Then he looked at Tang En and pushed up his sunglasses. Young man, you have a lot of thoughts. Sometimes the more you want something, the farther away it becomes. Why not open your mind? The world is still beautiful. Turtle Immortal secretly said a few words to Tang En, and then walked away sideways, his walking posture as awkward as ever. Tang En looked at Turtle Immortal and was touched in his heart. After experiencing it personally, Tang En only felt that the wretched old man in front of him was indeed unfathomable. After all, he is a person who has lived for hundreds of years, and he can clearly feel the difference between himself and his companions. Tang En's mood is indeed a bit complicated. This is natural. Anyone who knows the danger of Longzhu in the future can't help but feel it. However, Tang En still smiled calmly, and at this moment he said to himself: Teacher Wu Qian, the biggest difference between me and everyone else is that my actions have a certain purpose. I really don't have Wukong's innocent heart, but what I want to do is exactly what everyone will do in the future. I don't want to be mediocre, and I hope you can give me more advice in the future. I saw Turtle Immortal remove the turtle shell from his back, unbutton his clothes, revealing his thin body. The ribs on Kame Senen's chest are clearly visible, as if they could be blown down by a gust of wind. Okay, I'm going to start. Kame Immortal took a few steps forward, exhaled a few breaths, and raised his arms upward. Everyone held their breath and watched the god of martial arts in front of them. By the way, am I sexy? Turtle Immortal suddenly turned his head and asked everyone a question. Everyone fell! Bulma not only doubted whether the old man was serious, but immediately said to Tang En with a black line, Is he really the god of martial arts? Tang En was speechless, watching the old man in front of him climb up a 1-meter-high wall with difficulty. Wait and see, Teacher Wu Qian does have the demeanor of a master. Before he finished speaking, the Turtle Immortal shouted loudly, startling everyone immediately. Immediately afterwards, the muscles in Kame Senren's whole body exploded, first his arms, then his legs, chest, and neck all grew rapidly. Soon, the veins on the surface of Kame Senen's skin were exposed, and his whole body suddenly more than doubled in height! Taking this opportunity, Tang En pressed the combat power detector and saw that the value expanded rapidly, starting from 50 and soon stopping at around 100. Tang En was stunned for a moment. He remembered that Came Immortal's strength was a full 139, and he was still not rated. However, this was the strength during the laddie's period, and there was still a long time left at this time. Came Senen's data was normal, representing the full strength after the explosion. At this time, Turtle Immortal's whole body was wrapped in bursts of white light, and then he put his hands together and made several seals. Then gradually bring your hands together and put them behind your back. Here he is. Master Came Senen's Came style Qigong. The Bull Demon King looked excited at the side, looking at the Turtle Immortal with admiration. Turtle Sect Gaigong Wave! Exclamation! After accumulating power, a dazzling white light appeared. Turtle Immortal pushed out a wave of light with his hands, creating a scorching storm. For a moment, dust flew up and enveloped everyone. The Qigong wave rushed towards the castle and was submerged in the fire. Hold head high! Everything your eyes touch is filled with light. In an instant, the turtle Qigong suppressed the fire. After that, the castle surrounded by fire rushed across, and the remaining aftermath directly defeated the mountain, leaving a clearing. It's so white and so clean, so amazing. Little Wukong looked surprised and said subconsciously, "Haha, I'm sorry, it was a bit harsh." Turtle Immortal returned to his original thin state, touching his head with a flattering look on his face. "Sorry, I accidentally destroyed your castle. I seriously doubt you did it on purpose," Tang En secretly muttered. But how could the Bull Demon King dare to be dissatisfied? So he quickly told Guizaianren that it was all right. As long as the castle was gone, it would be fine to repair it. "The trick just now is so powerful. Can you teach me?" Little Wukong looked excited, pointed at himself, and said to Guizaianren, "If you want to learn turtle-style Qigong, you need at least 50 years of cultivation." Turtle Immortal said, 50 years. Little Wukong looked at his hands, as if he didn't know how long it was. Sun Wukong then put his hands together, imitating the Turtle Immortal, and hit the wall beside him. Turtle School Qigong. Then a white ore rushed towards the face and went straight to the broken wall in front, punching a hole in it. It's still not as powerful as Grandpa. Little Wukong clapped his hands and said innocently, "Everyone, amazing, he is worthy of being the grandson of senior brother Gohan." Bull Demon King also said, "What is this? A person with a combat power of 10 can capture the breath so easily and mobilize it subconsciously. Is it an innate talent of Saiyans?" In fact, it was Turtle Immortal who was most surprised. After all, no one knew Turtle School Qigong better than him. And just now he said that he wouldn't be able to perform this move without 50 years of practice. He was immediately slapped in the face after receiving it, and even Came Senen's face turned red. This kid is extraordinary. There will be another chapter later, more than words. Please recommend, collect. End of this chapter. Chapter 9, Tang En's Good Moral Character. Chapter 9, Tang En's Good Moral Character. Noticing the words of the Bull Demon King, Guizaianren praised O. Sun Wukong's grandson, not bad. Turtle Immortal nodded and said with some surprise, "Yes, doesn't Master Wushan know?" New Demon King said from the side. Came Senen knocked on his back, walked up to Little Wukong, and said to him, "Kid, how is Gohan doing now?" Little Wukong was a little confused and replied to Turtle Immortal, "Grandpa is already dead." "Are you dead?" The light on Came Immortal's sunglasses flashed away. But then the melancholy mood swept away and he became natural again. He didn't even ask how he died. Calculating his age, this boy is almost done. Alas, it's such a pity to lose such a good man. "Wukong, are you interested in going to my house to practice martial arts? It's not impossible to surpass me in time." Came Senen looked at the child in front of him. Wukong's super talent and innocent personality really endeared him to Kame Senin. Really? Okay. I'll go after I finish looking for the Dragon Balls. Little Wukong was very excited and replied happily. Tang En looked at this scene and said nothing. He had planned to become a disciple of Kame Senin, but Tang En believed that as long as he could use the Dragon Balls well, it was not particularly necessary to become a disciple of Kame Senin. If he found that the Dragon Balls could not realize his vision, he could continue to follow Wukong to Kame Senin's place without any delay. At this moment, Bulma, Wulong, and others also came out of the ruins with excitement on their faces. Sure enough, Wulong held a brand new Dragon Ball in his hand. Counting this Dragon Ball, Tang En and the others already have 6. Then let's go. Thank you for taking care of everyone. Goodbye. Everyone returned to the car and Bulma said to the Turtle Immortal and the Bull Demon King. Bulma drove away in her car as the Turtle Immortal and the Bull Demon watched. Now there is only one Dragon Ball left. I want to see what the dragon looks like, Bulma said to Tang En. Tang En nodded with a smile and said to Wukong, Wukong, do you have any special wishes that you want to realize? Huh? Wish, I didn't think about it. I just want to fight against powerful people. Xiao Wukong replied. What about you? I don't know your wish yet. Bulma asked Tang En excitedly. Me, I want to become stronger through Dragon Ball. Become stronger? Don't you have to train yourself to become stronger? Grandpa said that as long as I work hard, I will become stronger and stronger. Lil Wukong looked at Tang En and asked in confusion. Yes, Wukong, your grandfather is right. As long as you work hard, there is nothing you can't defeat, Tang En said to little Wukong. Tang En cleverly changed the topic. At this time, everyone was in high interest and no one noticed. After all, except for Tang En, no one else is really interested in wishes. They collect Dragon Balls purely for adventure. Well, except for the Oolong. But everyone's talents are different. Wukong, you are a born warrior, so naturally you won't worry about this. Being able to come to this world, I must also want to have the power to destroy the world. This sentence was what Tang En was thinking about. Over the years, Tang En still had this thought. Seeing that little Wukong was about to lie down and fall asleep in the car again, Tang En didn't feel jealous at all. Only now did Tang En know Wukong's charismatic personality. No wonder all the bosses in the universe are willing to teach him, so pure that all kings are willing to make friends with him. The little Wukong in front of him has not grown up yet, and has not reached the point where one person can hold up the earth. However, his pure intention still prevented him from feeling jealous. What a strange place. The trees here are like mushrooms, Wulong asked while driving the car and looking around. Hey, Wulong, is there a small town near here? Bulma asked. How do I know? I have never been here before, Wulong replied. Oops, the car is almost out of gas. What should I do? Wulong looked at the remaining amount of gas and said to Bulma, Didn't I ask you to drive to refuel yesterday? What? You said it doesn't matter. Shut up, you big idiot. When exclamation, a burst of chestnuts exclamation, ah, it hurts so much. You are such an annoying woman. Also, don't call me stupid. What about hitting you? Damn, you are so annoying. Please drive the car better, idiot. Idiot, you just called me an idiot again. So what if I call you a fool? What did you say? Tang En watched Bulma and a pig quarreling indifferently. He had long been used to it. I would have tried to stop him earlier, but now I just pretend I didn't see it. Anyway, it's always my own fault, okay? Tang En had an idea and looked at Bulma Bunny's outfit today. Tang En suddenly remembered that there seemed to be a story about a rabbit boss here. Moreover, this person has the ability to turn people into carrots, which also caused a lot of trouble to little Wukong. Tang En pondered for a moment and thought about whether to change paths. After all, if he was touched by the rabbit boss, he would definitely turn into a carrot, and that would be too bad. Tang En quickly rejected this idea, thinking that if this scared him, how would he face Frieza, Majin Buu or the like in the future? And this is a real world. Defeating Boss Rabbit can save many lives. Finally, before the car ran out of gas, everyone finally arrived at a small town. They split up first. Oolong Goku went to refuel, Bulma and Tang En went to buy some clothes, and brought a lot of food with them. On the way back, Tang En saw a few big men with rabbit ears bullying some fruit vendors. Twain, are those people the Rabbit Legion that the gentleman at the clothing store just mentioned? Bulma said to Tang En. It should be, huh? Tang En noticed that their eyes were looking at him, and they were walking in his direction, so he stopped. Meanwhile, on the other side of the intersection, a man emerges from a car with a rabbit graphic. This man was holding a carrot in his hand, biting it while staring at it. Tang En pressed the combat power detector and found that the combat power of several Rabbit Legion soldiers was between 4 and 6. The person who came out of the car should be Boss Rabbit, but his strength is only 6 points. The most difficult thing is his superpower. Tang En frowned and stared at Boss Rabbit from the other direction. If he guessed correctly, the carrot in his hand should be a person. Thinking of this, Tang En couldn't help but feel angry. At this time, the two soldiers in front had already walked over. A soldier said to Bulma next to Tang En, "Look, I just said it's a new face, he's quite pretty. The boss is right behind. Should we capture her and give her to Boss Rabbit?" Hey, good idea, let's do it like this. Another person echoed. The two of them completely ignored Tang En's existence. Bulma turned sideways and looked at the two people in front of her. With Tang En by her side, she didn't think she was in danger. Hey, boy in front of you, do you want to go alone or let me help you? Ha 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 ha. A slightly fat soldier said. HMPH, who are you guys? Bulma looked at the two of them dissatisfied. Then he made a face with his hands and said to them, It's really rare. Don't you two know about our famous rabbit army? You must be from out of town, right? The thin soldier said. I'm sorry, I have something important to do, so I can't play with you anymore. After saying that, he pulled Tang En away. Kaka. The thin soldier suddenly took out a gun and said to Bulma, "Little girl, your tone is so sweet. Are you tired of living?" It was Tang En's turn to perform. Heroes save beauty. Tang En quickly stretched out his hand. The training these days has indeed made his strength increase a lot. At this moment, he first held the muzzle of the gun, then twisted it down and snatched the gun away. What? My gun? The two of them took a few steps back and looked at the scene in front of them in horror, feeling incredible. Tang En punched the fat soldier thump. There was a bang, causing him to fall to the ground and vomit bitter water. This punch was powerful enough to make Tang En lose his fighting ability. The thin soldier was very frightened, so he picked up the fat soldier and ran towards the rabbit boss. At this time, Boss Rabbit also saw that one of his people was being bullied and was walking towards Tang En dangerous. Tang En was very vigilant. He didn't want to capsize in the gutter. Just do it. Tang En didn't want to talk too much nonsense with him at all, so he picked up a wooden stick from the ground and attacked the rabbit boss. As long as your body doesn't touch him, it'll be fine, Tang En said to himself secretly. Boss Rabbit was stunned. I haven't spoken yet. When the stick came down, the rabbit boss hurriedly dodged and was very embarrassed. Then there were several consecutive blows. The rabbit boss couldn't bear to dodge. He was hit hard several times, and his whole body was sore. Stop. I haven't spoken yet. I'm willing to make peace. I can shake your hand, Tang En turned a deaf ear. He just wanted to kill him right now. When he came to this world, Tang En kept in mind his humble and nonchalant attitude. Resolutely absorb the bad habits of the Saiyans and follow the example of T! Especially in this situation that can be overturned at any time, no matter what, beat him first. If you have anything to say, you can wait until he is dead to say it to his body. Soon, Tang En made Boss Rabbit lose his fighting ability. Tang En thought for a moment. If Boss Rabbit doesn't die, innocent people will definitely be harmed. In the original book, Zhou Wukong sent him to the moon with a Rui stick, but only then did he realize that this is completely unworkable. Tang En didn't even need to ask, he knew that this was impossible. Bulma, turn around first. If you don't get rid of the rabbit boss, innocent people will definitely be turned into carrots and eaten. Tang En said to Bulma, turn people into carrots. Bulma also wondered why Tang En used a wooden stick this time. It turns out seeing Boss Rabbit eating the remaining carrots, Bulma felt a chill in her heart and turned around quickly. The soldiers below were so frightened that they immediately dispersed. In their hearts, Tang En has become the most terrifying demon king at this moment. Even the invincible Boss Rabbit is no match for him. Hee hee. This chapter is 3,200 words, which is not much. But this plot is almost over. Guess what the first wish is? End of this chapter. Chapter 10, The Last Dragon Ball. Chapter 10, The Last Dragon Ball. Now there are only 7 Dragon Balls left, and only the last one is left. Everyone looked at the Dragon Ball radar and gradually approached the location of the last Dragon Ball. If I remember correctly, the last Dragon Ball should be held by King Pilaf. Tang En was lying in the car, his thoughts wandering, and he thought to himself, Tang En, after collecting the Dragon Balls, where are you going? Bulma put her hands together, placed them beside her face, and asked Tang En with a red face, I need to find a place to practice well and become stronger. Tang En said seriously, yeah. Tang En also wants to become stronger. Then do you want to accompany me to train with Grandpa Kame Sennin? He must compete with you again. Wukong opened his mouth and laughed, inviting warmly. To be honest, although Kame Sennin is very strong, Tang En thinks that he is not very suitable for the theory of Kame Sennin. For example, Kame Sennin mentioned that his thoughts were not pure and that his situation was different from Krillin's. But these are all objective factors. The most important point is that Tang En wants to break the limitations of people on Earth and break the shackles of the human body. Just like Saitama, he embarks on a path destined to be his own. To achieve this goal, it is definitely not possible to rely solely on Kame Senryu. After all, Krillin in the original work almost represents the limit that people on Earth can reach in Kame Senryu. I'd better not go. I want to go to Bulma's house to train on my own. This just confirms my thoughts. Wukong, let's compare notes when we have time. Twain said, isn't it good to develop a girlfriend? Besides, the house is so big and has such high technology, but it still lacks a place to practice. Really? Great. I will definitely entertain you. Bulma was very excited. She leaned on Tang En and tilted the track of the speeding car. Oolong, who was driving, dared not speak out in anger, so he could only say in a low voice, please calm down, the car is about to tip over. King Pilaf, their car has just passed the 10th location and is getting closer and closer. Xiao Wu said while holding the walkie-talkie and standing on the tree. Okay, proceed according to the battle plan. As ordered. Axu, have you seen the car? I see, wrap it on me. Hey, Tang En, you said that we found the Dragon Ball after a lot of hard work. Why did we make a wish to become stronger? Can't we make a bigger wish? Oolong said dissatisfiedly as he drove the car. Bulma immediately mocked, you are making a lot of noise. There is no need for you to meddle in other people's business. You have worked so hard and yet you haven't done anything at all. When Oolong heard this, he slammed on the brakes and everyone fell forward. Oolong, how did you drive the car? You can drive it yourself. I won't do anything anyway, so that's okay, right? Okay, Oolong, after you find the Dragon Ball, I can give you a reward of 10 yuan. Tang En shook his head and said to Oolong, Huh? Really? Great. Just when Oolong was about to set off, a sudden change occurred! Exclamation directly ahead. A rocket is coming your way! Exclamation boom! The rocket exploded next to the car, and a huge wave of air knocked the car over. Success! Ash shouted excitedly and then drove the robot towards Tang En and the others, aiming directly for the Dragon Ball in his backpack. Cough, cough, cough. What is it? Bulma gasped, but luckily she wasn't injured, just choking on the dust. Wukong, Tang En, the Dragon Balls are still in the car! Exclamation Little Wukong was still dazed and staring at the thick smoke in front of him with his wish stick. It's disgusting. Come out and compete with me. Tang En, on the other side, was also a little at a loss. As the saying goes, there is only 1,000 days to be a thief, but there is no 1,000 days to guard against a thief. Although Tang En had a detector, he still neglected some. After all, they were attacked by King Pilaf and the others. However, the most important reason is that Tang En does not regard this funny trio as a serious problem. At the moment, although the incident happened suddenly, Tang En subconsciously rushed forward. Sure enough, Tang En saw Ashiu, who was controlling the machine not far away, and the other party was also moving quickly this way. But Tang En got closer after all, and immediately found the backpack containing the Dragon Balls, and threw it to Oolong and Bulma, who were hiding aside. Why not give it to Wukong? Mainly because Wukong still has a 4-star ball on him. I'm not afraid of 10,000, I'm just afraid that if something funny happens and the boat capsizes in the gutter. In this way, the Dragon Balls will not be lost all at once, and there will be a turning point. At this time, Asiu also happened to run over. In a proud mood, when he saw the Dragon Ball being transferred first, his expression suddenly turned bitter. Looking at the face of the person in front of him who had made him suffer, Ash couldn't help but slow down his steps and flinched. Xiao Wu, come down and help me. Those brats have found me. Ash's legs felt weak and he spoke into the intercom. Then he secretly cheered himself up. This time, I have the match given to me by King Pilaf still here. This time it's not as simple as knocking you out. Wukong, go protect the Dragon Ball on Bulma and leave it to me. Tang En clenched his fist. After catching the two of them, he will almost collect all the Dragon Balls. And this also means that his path of spiritual practice should officially begin. Thinking of this, Tang En couldn't help but feel a little excited, and his strength in taking action became stronger. Damn it! What a tough brat. We're about to fail again. Axeu, prepare to retreat. Xiao Wu had already walked over at this time and said to Ashiu. Tang En rushed forward, and bursts of tearing wind sounded. Soon, Tang En arrived in front of Ashiu, put his feet on the ground, jumped suddenly, and jumped directly onto the mecha. Come down, come down. Ashi twisted his body and controlled his machine frantically, trying to throw Tang En away. Xiao Wu on the side also became quite panicked and wanted to step forward to help Asiu. Without hesitation, Tang En immediately knocked open the glass with his fist, lifted Axiu out, and took off his walkie-talkie. Xiao Wu saw that his partner was defeated in the blink of an eye, and he was frightened. He stood there and exclaimed, wanting to retreat. Sure enough, the three of us are still not good at this kind of thing. Tang En then defeated Xiao Wu in the same way and tied the two of them up, under the supervision of Wu Long. Twain, who are they? Bulma walked over and pointed at the two people and asked. They are the subordinates of King Pilaf. Their purpose is to obtain the Dragon Balls and use them to rule the world. Huh? What a vulgar wish. Bulma smacked her lips. Tang En picked up the walkie-talkie and dialed King Pilaf. He had some new ideas about the last Dragon Ball. After all, if they attack King Pilaf's castle as before, they might suffer a lot. The call was connected, and a dwarf with a round hat and a purple face showed his head. Hello? Ash, have you got the Dragon Ball? Yes, King Pilaf. Your great wish is finally coming true. Really? Ha 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 ha. Well done, Ash exclamation I, King Pilaf, will not treat you too badly, ha ha ha. By the way, why does your voice sound a little strange? Are you uncomfortable? Well this ha ha, I'm not so happy. Ash in the picture scratched his head and said embarrassedly, by the way, King Pilaf, our mecha was damaged in the battle. Can you come and pick us up? Our location is at the big rock here at No. Haha, for the sake of your great achievements, I reluctantly agreed. King Pilaf danced happily and didn't care about anything else. He just wanted to fly to the Dragon Ball and realize his wish. King Pilaf, remember to bring the planet with you. Tilde nonsense. I still need you to remind me. Twain, I did everything you asked. What about 20? Oolong returned to his original state, rubbed his hands at Tang En and said, this was Tang En's improvised method. It had many loopholes, but it was still possible to deceive the fried rice king. As for the money issue, Tang En just wanted to say, really fragrant. Thanks to July 0119 for 3 consecutive 52 recommendation votes. Exclamation, there is another chapter at noon! Exclamation, I hope everyone can continue to support. Without further ado, let's continue saving manuscripts. Our goal is no cavities! Exclamation, oh no! Exclamation, it is never updated. End of this chapter. Chapter 11, The Confidence to Forge Ahead. Chapter 11, The Confidence to Forge Ahead. Just as Tang En expected, King Pilaf was really fooled. When Pilaf saw Oolong's transformation into ash, he was knocked unconscious by Tang En, who was hiding behind him. Opening Pilaf's collar, there was indeed a Dragon Ball inside. Tang En smiled and collected all the Dragon Balls. He was undoubtedly the happiest person. After all, he was the one who made the wish. Okay. Now we have collected all 7 Dragon Balls. Bulma took out her 5 Dragon Balls. Sun Wukong also opened the bag and took out his 4 stars. The 7 Dragon Balls gathered together and suddenly produced a dazzling resonance, flashing one after another and emitting bright light. Okay. Tang En nodded heavily. Immediately afterwards, Tang En quickly took out a note from his pocket. After all, for things like making a wish, Tang En had already thought about what he wanted to wish for since he time traveled. The only thing I'm worried about is that Shenlong's level is too low and he won't be able to fulfill his wish. In order to avoid long nights and dreams, Tang En decided to start making wishes now! Exclamation, Tang En checked again to ensure that the Pilaf trio in the distance were still unconscious, and then put the 7 Dragon Balls together, and 6 Dragon Balls surrounded the other Dragon Ball. At this time, the 7 Dragon Balls flickered almost continuously. This is the resonance that can only be produced when all the Dragon Balls come together. Come out, Shenlong. Click. The sky is thunderbolt. Soon, large chunks of dark clouds came and swept over Tang En and others in almost the blink of an eye. Then, black clouds centered here and quickly swept across all directions. After a while, the sky turned completely black. At this moment, the Dragon Ball was even more dazzling, wrapped with golden thunder and crackling. Immediately, the Dragon Ball condensed into a stream of energy, went straight up into the sky, and transformed into a dragon shape. Hold head high! Exclamation, a dragon roar sounded, and the dragon grew bigger and bigger, and its body gradually turned into a green entity. Ah, this is the dragon? It looks so amazing, Oolong said tremblingly. I have to say that the scene where the dragon appeared was indeed shocking. Coupled with the dragon's huge body and divine aura, it is not surprising that most people are afraid of the dragon. Did you summon me? Tell us your wishes, no matter what they are, I can make them come true for you. Shenlong's plain yet majestic words came out. Cough, cough, cough. Tang En cleared his throat to ensure that what he said was clear enough, and then said loudly to Shenlong: Shenron, please help me remove the limiter of Earthlings in martial arts. The limiter means a lot of blah blah blah. There was silence in the air for a while. I'm sorry, I can't fulfill your wish, Shenlong said. As expected, Tang En clenched his fists and said unwillingly, "What, does Shenlong have a wish that he can't fulfill?" Bulma and Wulong asked dissatisfied. This was Tang En's first wish. In fact, Tang En had no hope at all. If this wish can be realized, wouldn't it mean that one can truly improve endlessly? This is even more terrifying than Saitama! This is the Dragon Ball world after all. Don't you have any other wishes? Shenlong Tian said shamelessly. Then, Shenron, please turn my body into a Saiyan body. Since the limiter can't be broken, it would be good to change to a Saiyan body. It's pretty much the same, but it also has an extra level of strength. I can't fulfill this wish. I cannot fit one person's soul to the body of another race while still maintaining the original nature of the body. This has gone beyond the original scope of life. Besides, the strength of adult Saiyans far exceeds my own. Shenron continued. Then, what if it's a demon, a frozen demon, or even an infinity android and a Namkian? Tang En said without giving up. Tang En said a bunch of names of alien races in front of his friends without any scruples. After all, a living person can't suffocate to death, and he can't give up the opportunity to try because he can't explain it in the future. No, isn't this dragon a fake? This is what Bulma meant too. After all, in her opinion, if the wish cannot be realized, it is not the dragon. She told Tang En. Seeing that Tang En had made several wishes but none of them could come true, she couldn't help but begin to wonder whether the legend of Shenlong was true. Even Oolong beside her began to no longer be afraid. Tang En covered his scalp and weakly looked at the contents on the list. Then let me get all the knowledge of Angel Weiss. Tang En was too embarrassed to finish the request, so he just struggled for a moment. After all, this request was too difficult for him. Sure enough, Shenlong almost cried out when he heard the angel exclamation. He didn't understand how this little human could know the name of the angel. He became nervous and even started to sweat on his forehead. Don't you have any other wishes? Yes, but can you make it happen? Shenlong felt despised. Okay, I have another wish here. Please allow me to obtain all the knowledge about martial arts except the high-level gods in the universe without side effects. This should be simpler than the previous one since we can't solve the problem from the source. We can only rely on our own efforts. With vast knowledge, it might be easy to achieve racial crossing, eh? Sorry, extraordinary in the universe, just say you can't achieve it. Tang En interrupted Shenlong! You couldn't even implement the plugin that I finally thought of. Tang En also thought about the strength of the super dragon in the Black Wukong chapter. If you compare with others, you will die, and if you compare goods, you will have to throw them away! When Zamasu asked for the body of Sun Wukong, Shenlong was able to arrange it for him immediately, and also developed the characteristics of this body to almost the extreme. If I narrow the scope down to the earth, I can realize this wish. I can pass on all the martial arts civilization since the birth of mankind to you. This is my limit. Tang En thought about it and felt that he was at a loss. Then you have to give up nearly 100 years of scientific knowledge on Earth. Shenlong, your wish came true. Goodbye. The dragon turned into a stream of white light, divided into 7 parts, and left here under the watchful eyes of everyone. But this looks like he escaped. Soon, a white light entered Tang En's mind. Tang En was stunned, feeling that his mind was blank at the moment, and at the same time, a stinging pain gradually came, but it was quickly suppressed by something. In just 3 or 4 breaths, this situation stopped. Tang En began to examine his extra knowledge. It was indeed very pure, and the martial arts knowledge in it was all-encompassing. With just a thought, Tang En discovered the Turtle Keigong, Demon Sealing Wave, Air Dance, Keigong Cannon, and other moves inside. Then a piece of more profound knowledge emerged in Tang En's mind. It was a Kai cultivation method and belonged to the temple's inheritance. It records the understanding of each generation of gods from the first generation of gods to today's Shannian Piccolo. Get rich. Tang En believes that when he goes back this time, he will definitely undergo an earth-shaking transformation. He has never had such a profound understanding in martial arts! At this moment, he was like a wise man who suddenly woke up, with countless ideas in his mind that needed to be considered and implemented by himself. Tang En wants to go back, right? Very urgently, he couldn't wait to return to the western capital to confirm his path. A road full of temptations is sweeping across, and becoming a master seems to be within a matter of seconds. Is the technology of artificial humans so mature? The reason why Tang En added the scientific knowledge within 100 years was actually mostly due to his curiosity about artificial human technology. He couldn't believe that through transformation, a person or some parts could actually compete with a Super Saiyan. You can tell when you see the results of the artificial man in your mind. At this time, Dr. Gallo has initially produced the 4 artificial human ideas that will appear in the subsequent development of the plot. The first is a complete mechanical body, which is exactly the configuration of the Red Ribbon Legion today. This kind of technology is already very mature, and Dr. Gallo doesn't care too much. This is just the foreplay of the artificial human series. The typical characters artificial human No and mechanical peach white. The second type is the absorptive artificial human, which has an additional device that can obtain human body energy, that is, Kai, but it is stuck in a bottleneck. There are 2 reasons, one is the material, and the other is Dr. Gallo's insufficient understanding of Kai, or simply wrong. It is estimated that the later micro-robots inspired Dr. Gallo when he monitored Sun Wukong and others, which caused the androids to begin to enter the absorption type. The third type is the most famous unlimited energy type. No.16 to No.18 are all of this type. It is just an idea now, and both the materials and the conflict between the internal core furnace and the R-type program are still being studied. It may eventually lead to a conflict between instructions and energy, which is still very poorly studied. The last one is Dr. Gallo's final vision, the ultimate artificial man. Combining the advantages of all martial arts masters, a new life is born. First of all, it has the super high talents and skills of human beings, plus the settings to capture energy to quickly improve itself, and at the same time, it can also carry out advanced evolution. I have to say, Dr. Gallo is really a genius. Although it is only in the theoretical stage, it is already very impressive! Tang En couldn't help admiring. At the same time, Tang En also saw data about the Universal Capsule, the Dragon Ball radar, and the combat power detector Bulma had just invented. And I have to admire that half of the scientific and technological achievements in the past 100 years came from Breve's Magnum Group, which is worthy of being the world's richest man now. Invincible. If the protagonist is set to start as an Earthling, he will not transform into a Saiyan. In the future, the protagonist will make breakthroughs again and again through his own efforts, and then there will be various transformations, and the opportunities are almost clear. I posted more than 5,000 words today. I'm awesome. Please collect, invest, and get tickets! Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 12 History of the Earth. Chapter 12 History of the Earth. The feeling of being immersed in an ocean of knowledge. So comfortable! Tang En feels that even if his martial arts knowledge is excluded, he can already achieve his second goal with scientific knowledge alone. What should we do in the future? Anyway, there is no way to find the Dragon Balls within a year. I think we should disband first. Oolong said to Bulma. Bulma put her hands together, resting her head on her head, and replied, I have no choice but to do this. There is no such thing as a banquet in the world. Then Bulma thought that Tang En would go back with her again, and she became very happy again. Then Bulma said to Goku, Wukong, do you want to consider coming to my house? My house is very spacious. I don't want it. I want to learn martial arts from Grandpa Turtle Immortal and become stronger. Sun Wukong widened his eyes and said happily, in 1 year, let's go look for the Dragon Balls again. Sun Wukong was still thinking about his 4 planets at this time and said to Bulma. Bulma's face turned red, She glanced at Tang En, covered her mouth, and snickered, "Hee, there's no need to look for the Dragon Balls anymore, right?" "Huh? No, I have to find Grandpa's Dragon Ball no matter what, but I don't know how to find it," Sun Wukong said. "It doesn't matter, I'll just give this Dragon Ball radar to you," Bulma replied, passing the Dragon Ball radar from her hand. "1 year later, as long as you press this button, you will know the traces of the Dragon Balls." Little Wukong was very excited and expressed his gratitude after taking the radar. "Hey, you are ignoring the fortunate Oolong-sama." Oolong crossed his arms and said, unconvinced. "Okay, Oolong, do you want to go to the city with us?" Tang En asked. "HMPH. Then I'll reluctantly agree." Oolong responded. "Wukong, you must become stronger," Tang En said to little Wukong. This sentence was spoken by Tang En to Sun Wukong, and also to himself. "When we meet again, I hope we are both very different!" Well, when I become stronger, I will definitely continue to compete with you. A word is settled. Goodbye. Some assault cloud. Zidu, Universal Group. Tang En was lying in a practice room, staring at the ceiling, lost in thought. He has now clarified the inheritance of Earth's martial arts. It is indeed very rich and profound. The many truths in it made him excited every time, and his thoughts were flying. He believes that in terms of the amount of knowledge stored in this world, he is definitely the number one. Even the gods and turtles are slightly behind. This is a bold statement that you can only dare to make after seeing such a vast reserve of knowledge. However, Tang En always felt that he was missing something. Yes, state of mind. Tang En sat up, carefully thinking about the difference between himself and Gui Xianren. He found that he was like a nouveau riche who possessed the most profound martial arts in the world despite not having a good foundation. One moment, I wanted to try to learn those advanced skills, and the next moment, I saw the exquisite understanding of Kai. I was a plenary session, but I felt that none of it was my own. It's too clear, and some of the conflicts in the theory are very confusing. I can't ignore them because they are so useful! Just like a king who can't bear to live like a beggar every day, Tang En can't bear to practice his ethereal Kai steadily every day. Tang En, who has watched countless anime, feels that his situation makes him look like a tragic supporting actor. High-minded but low-handed. Without perseverance. Tang En couldn't help but laugh at himself. If things develop like this, can he become the protagonist of the Dragon Ball world with what? Tang En shook his head and laughed. Why have I become so pretentious? I get such a big advantage and still dislike this and that. Take your time. The topic turned to Earth's martial arts, and countless martial arts information was integrated by itself, forming a complete history in Tang En's mind. In the nearly 10 years since humans developed language, martial arts on Earth have been in the primitive period. Tribes gather, men farm, and women weave. Until one day, for unknown reasons, great changes occurred around the Earth. The space from the underworld and the demon world was opened, and all kinds of monsters spewed out on the Earth. It is said that heroes emerge in troubled times, and with external enemies, human martial arts civilization slowly began to develop. Martial arts and moves are wild and arrogant. Born out of wild beasts, turned into demons. This stage lasted for 1 year. The demons during this period were not extremely vicious. Some were even very weak. Moreover, they can only stay in a common place and cannot leave the passage of the demon world for too long. Some monsters are even completely unable to enter the human world. As time goes by, one day 1 year later, the time restrictions restricting entry and exit from the demon world finally gradually dissipated. At this time, the fierce integration and battle gradually began. In just 100 years, the inhabitants of the Earth suffered heavy casualties! People who originally thought that the demons were just legends were awakened one after another. Fortunately, the theory of spiritual practice has appeared on the Earth in the past 1 year, and it has not been destroyed in a short period of time. Misfortunes and blessings depend on With the fear of death, the desire to become stronger was born. Although the human race was at a disadvantage during these 100 years, it still survived with its large population base and gradually improved. And this also ushered in a turning point for mankind, the arrival of the first generation of gods. His origins have long been unknown, leaving only legends about him. It is said that this man was originally killed by an evil spirit, and later returned from the underworld and founded the temple as a dead man. But it's hard to tell what's true and what's false. However, what happened afterwards was very clear. A generation of gods passed down the concept of Kai, and after choosing a successor, they disappeared again. You must know that even today, where Twain lives, the theory about Kai only exists in a very small number of civilizations in the universe. Moreover, at that time, the people on Earth were still collectively weak, and it was extremely difficult to generate a sense of energy. Therefore, at that time, human beings did not rise immediately, and the theory of Kai was only regarded by ordinary people as a gift from God and shelved. All of these are just a seed planted. 30 years later, the seeds grew into towering trees. Once the second generation of gods was born, they solved one of the four most vicious devils at that time. Then it took another 10 years to kill the three devils one after another. After that, there was an extra unique skill in the world! Ceiling! The unique move of the second generation of gods. In the end, the second generation god used the sealing technique to seal the passage to the demon world, once again restricting the demons' free access, and in the end he died of exhaustion. But at this time, the problem came. For 40 years, the second generation of gods was busy avenging the human race. How could they have the time to cultivate arts? The inheritance of the gods was directly cut off. Because of their great merits, the second generation gods retained their physical bodies after death. Before the sentence was pronounced, the second generation god asked the king of hell to send a guide to protect the earth's inheritance, and the king of hell agreed. So, Bobo came. Bobo selected a person with a pure heart from among humans to train as a god. 20 years later, the third generation of gods was born! And based on the sealing technique of the original second generation god, the third generation god adapted the demon sealing wave and spread it to the lower world! The most powerful humans at that time practiced the demon sealing wave, and used this to eliminate the remaining more powerful demons. However, what the third generation god did not expect was: the people of the earth are still too weak in general, and the demon sealing wave that makes him feel tired will directly lead to the death of the earth's martial arts master! Therefore, the demonic sealing wave gradually became a forbidden technique after the powerful demons gradually became rare. In the 200 years since the species was planted, some humans have been greatly changed on the original basis due to being contaminated by the genes of the demons. And with the advent of peace, the large-scale reproduction has caused human beings to produce various kobolds, cat headmen, and so on. There will always be disputes and discrimination. But as time went by, these races were finally further tolerated and collectively referred to as human beings. For the prosperity of martial arts on Earth, 3 generations of gods worked hard to study martial arts. The third generation of gods added their own insights to the martial arts of their predecessors, improved the Kai cultivation techniques, integrated them systematically, and passed them down to the lower world while the Earth was at peace. In order to guide people on Earth to enter the temple to practice, the third generation of gods entered the underworld again. After going through all kinds of difficulties, I finally got the Kylan Tower to connect heaven and earth. And got a newborn white cat. The 3 generations of gods named it Kylan Immortal and listed it as a servant of God. At the same time, the god gave him a somersault cloud and a wish-fulfilling stick, and Immortal Kylan was responsible for guiding the destined people to the temple. After that, another 500 years passed. Due to the priesthood, Bobo and Kylan are both alive, but the gods have already changed several times. Over the years, Immortal Kylan invented fairy beans and used them as food for people who climbed the tower. And among these people who passed the test of immortal Kylan, the next gods were born one after another. But for some reason, there are not many legends about them left in history. In other words, they all silently watched the rise and fall of the Earth without saying a word. At this time, a spacecraft broke the tranquility of the Earth. A perfect Nankian with super talent is here. The work has reached words, and I am silently waiting for the website to be short. May Buddha bless me. Amen. End of this chapter. Chapter 13 The Goal of One Combat Power. Chapter 13 The Goal of Combat Power. Tang En knew what happened next. After Perfect Piccolo came to Earth, he waited for his parents in the Yunzibit Highlands for 40 years. Son, we'll be here in a minute. This is what Big's parents said. However, Piccolo did not wait for his parents to come to him. After that, Piccolo left there. After entering the world, Piccolo realized that there were gods, so he had the idea of going to the temple. At this moment, the lower realm has produced an extremely impressive martial arts civilization, and there are more and more martial arts masters, with martial masters as the main representatives. Moreover, the masters recruited many disciples, resulting in extremely colorful martial arts. Typical representatives include the Qigong Canon created by Wu Taidu, the 10,000 Kingdoms Shocking Palm, etc. At this time, Piccolo has also been recognized by Kylan Immortal and boarded the temple. Just like the original work, Perfect Piccolo split himself, Shan Nyan became a god and created the Dragon Balls. Evil thoughts became the great demon King Piccolo, causing harm to the world. The appearance of the great demon King Piccolo finally caused a commotion in the world, and countless martial arts masters were killed. The world is once again in turmoil. In the end, Wu Taidu used his life to seal Piccolo and put an end to this catastrophe. On his deathbed, Wu Taidu passed on the Qigong Canon and the 10,000 Kingdoms Shocking Palm to the future Crane Immortal and Turtle Immortal. The two of them are also people with deep blessings. They got the elixir of immortality by chance, and thus created their own schools and martial arts in their long lives. Ryu focuses on moves and techniques, and its style is very demanding. Zainren created a highly penetrating whole wave based on the Qigong Canon to solve the shortcoming of the Qigong Canon's high consumption. In addition, he also invented Sun Fist, Wukong technique, and other moves. Ryu, on the other hand, appears thick and natural. Xianren also learned from the palm of Wan Guo Jingtian and created the Pai Qigong wave. At the same time, Senin himself has also learned the explosive technique, which allows him to enter muscle form and improve his strength. Finally, he also invented After Shadow Fist, Guessing Fist, Drunken Boxing, Mind Reading, and so on. Decades later, the two schools have become the most sophisticated martial arts on Earth. However, the practice of Kai has been completely discontinued in the mortal world. Another 200 years later, neither the Gixian nor the Crane Immortal died. But after the two grew tired of the secular world and retired to seclusion, the Earth's martial arts had broken off, and Kellen Tower gradually became a legend. Instead, science on Earth began to develop rapidly, out of control, and completely dominated the secular world. This information is attached to the memories of generations of martial arts masters. When Tang En learned about this history, he had very complicated emotions. I was happy at first. After all, these memories were new things I had discovered in this world. Then, there was both emotion about the rich knowledge of martial arts and confusion about the farther road. These things are definitely enough for now, but there is always a lack of detachment. Throughout the history of human development, except for the gods of previous generations, almost no one can reach the level of Klin in the future. In other words, the people on Earth have never experienced a qualitative change before, and the maximum is only to that extent. This is not the most frightening thing. The most frightening thing is that the gods take it for granted that this is already the limit of the Earthlings. Tang En seemed to understand the final departure of Tianjin Fan Yamucha and others. If a person works twice as hard, he will only get half the reward. People who persevere in this way are called perseverance. However, if there is a person who works thousands of times but makes no progress at all, and on the contrary, the skill will get worse with the increase of physical age, such a person who can still persist in exercising can only be called an idiot. They may be stubborn, but their spirits will definitely be tempered. They must have been helpless as they watched their former rivals surpass themselves step by step. They can only encourage from behind, after all, who wants to be a burden on the battlefield. Tang En trembled, coughed a few times, and said to himself flatteringly, calm down, this world is an omnipotent world. Who can guarantee that I won't become the first super Earthling? Tang En searched out a growth plan that was most suitable for him at present, tempering his body for half a year, and then spending another 3 months practicing skills. After that, you can join the world's martial arts club. Tang En tried to forget his petty thoughts for the time being and exercised his body with peace of mind these days. However, this time it will not be as disorganized as before. Tang En hung a towel around his neck and walked out of the practice room. Although Bulma is still a student, she rarely goes to school. After all, the knowledge is too simple for her. If there is nothing else, she prefers to study something or go shopping, but now she has another interest cultivating. The story happened 3 days ago, when Tang En, Wulong and Bulma had just returned to the western capital. Wulong couldn't wait to enter a school to study. Needless to say, it must be for the beautiful girls there. On the other side, Bulma asked what a cyan was while chatting. In order to settle things once and for all, Tang En answered vaguely that he could predict many things when he was a child, but he has not appeared for a long time now. The Saiyans were a very powerful alien race that he had predicted. At that time, Tang En was also blamed for being too talkative, revealing that a powerful martial artist could blow up the earth with one punch. This made Bulma very curious. Can human beings be so strong? Fortunately, Tang En has 100 years of scientific knowledge, and it is very comprehensive. Now I selected the part about human potential from Dr. Gallo's results to talk to Bulma, and I was surprised to find that as long as it was a concept in a new field that I spoke about, Bulma could quickly understand it every time. Thinking of Kame Sento's experience of destroying a huge mountain, Bulma couldn't help but believe it a little more. At the same time, I felt great interest in my heart, as if I had seen an unknown territory. Since it works in theory, then it must be possible for my boyfriend, right? So under Tang En's intentional guidance, Bulma and Tang En reached an agreement, which was to help Tang En reach a combat power of points. The two of them calculated it together and decided to first make a detector that could measure points of combat power. The original one could only measure very limited strength due to the rush of time. The second is the new generation of practice rooms. Twain has already thought of this, the gravity room. But Tang En is not a Saiyan after all. He cannot exercise through near-death resurrection and does not require much gravity. There are no fairy beans at this time, so the maximum gravity should be a multiple of Kaiju, which should be enough for me to use for a while. After all, with Tang En's current strength, doubling it would be great. Just do what you say, and the two started researching the next day after they came back. However, Tang En had to practice during the day and only studied with Bulma at night. And this period of time was actually Tang En's happiest time, which was just the right time to relieve the boring training throughout the day. One of the two has the most profound knowledge in the world today, and the other has the most potential brain in the scientific community today. Only then did Tang En realize that it felt so perfect to complete something with the person he liked. Dun thought about the reason why Bulma and Yamucha broke up in the original book: first. This is also the most direct point. Yamucha was too carefree in the end. Tang En still can't figure out why. Why did you leave Bulma alone instead of provoking the women outside? Second, he is not motivated enough, especially compared to the arrogant Vegeta. Yamucha has nothing to do all day long and gradually becomes absent-minded when practicing, and even goes to play a game with a group of ordinary people. He was defeated by the enemy every day, and later he was killed by soldiers. Third, there is no common language with Bulma. When Bulma passed the age of nymphomaniac and walked out excitedly from a pile of data, she felt a sense of accomplishment that needed to be shared. Then, Bulma saw Yamcha, who had been fishing for 3 days and drying nets for 2 days, reading a newspaper and sunbathing. After calming down, Bulma should also examine whether two people can really spend the rest of their lives together. Fourth, it cannot give Bulma enough sense of security. This is very clear. In the named chapter, Bulma bluntly said that she did not expect Goku to become tall, handsome, and so strong. If she had known, she would have chosen him as her boyfriend. Tang En secretly thanked Yamcha, who was now unknown, for the experience. Thinking of the various crises that would later come to the Earth, Tang En didn't feel the least bit afraid. At this time, he felt that he was slowly taking root in this world. He had people he cared about and people who cared about him. He vowed to protect the world in front of him at all costs. Yesterday, my head was filled with water. I forgot to unzip it and modified the PPT directly in the compressed package. There was no save path, so I clicked save directly. As a result, the results I worked on for an hour and a half just flew away. I wanted to strangle myself. Please recommend, collect, invest, and comfort! I woo end of this chapter. Chapter 14 5-month exercise results. Chapter 14 Results of 5 months of TRINING Chinese letter I and the Universal Capsule Laboratory. Wow, such a big place with complete facilities. Thank you, Bulma. Tang En touched the gravity control panel in front of him, looked around, and said with emotion, "Well, that's too much." This was done by Tang Jun and I. Tang En hammered his fist, very happy. Since this gravity chamber did not require much gravity, the work was completed in just 1 week, and most of it was done by Bulma alone. Now I can practice more freely. Hey, Tang En tilde after you reach the combat power of, let's go traveling around the world together. Bulma now put her chin in her hands and asked expectantly with her eyes wide open. Huh? Do you have to go when you have a fighting strength of? I estimate it will take a long time. If you really want to go, I can make time at any time. People on Earth do not reach their limit easily. According to Tang En's statistics in his mind, Earthlings have several shackles on their combat effectiveness. And once you break through these stages, you will be greatly improved in the next period of time. The first yoke is probably between more than 100 and the specific situation will vary depending on personal circumstances, but most of them are somewhere in between. Every Earthling will have a stagnation period when he reaches 1 or 200 combat effectiveness. According to Tang En's attached memory, such earthly martial artists account for nearly 90.00% of the total number. Even the current Gixionran, Hexionran, Tao Beibai and others belong to this stage. Without extremely powerful or extremely pure desire and motivation, it is difficult to break through this restriction. After breaking through this limit, you can reach a level of about 1,000 or more through short-term practice. And this is exactly in line with the situation in the Cyan chapter where the Earthlings collectively advanced by leaps and bounds, and their power doubled several times in a year. If you want to improve further, you will need more stringent conditions. Or, like Krillin, get the talent guidance of the great elder of Namek and get it right in one step. Either rely on super talent and strong opponents. Just like Tianjin Fan and others in the original book, they arrived at Kaiwan Planet through the Snake Road and then continued to fight together. Pressure and motivation are indispensable. At this time, it is difficult to make further breakthroughs by relying solely on your own practice. Tang En didn't know anything about it after that. After all, he had no more material in his mind. Although both Kellen and Tianjin Fan in the original book showed a 1,000,000 level combat strength, it never detailed how they practiced to that point. Perhaps he could only be like them, following Sun Wukong to constantly challenge opponents far superior to him, and even lose his life in the end. He risked his life and survived, and then he became so powerful unknowingly. Tang En got a headache just thinking about it. I don't know if the previous generations of gods bothered to study in heaven, or were they reincarnated directly. This also means that Tang En must break at least 2 shackles before he can break through the strong combat power. However, with the experience of all the gods, although this is not ridiculously difficult, it cannot be completed in 3 years or 2 years. That's so boring. You just have to set your goals further to have the fun of waiting. Bulma kept her thumb and index finger very far apart and used only one eye to look at the gap between them. Really? It sounds very reasonable. Hey, Tang En, are you going to participate in the martial arts tournament in the world in 8 months? I see you have been paying attention to this recently. Bulma said. Yes, but I'm still far behind. I still need to become stronger. Hey, I'm here for the championship. If you don't win the championship now, it will be harder to defeat Sun Wukong later. After all, as long as he enters the universe and encounters powerful enemies, Sun Wukong's combat power will increase to such an extent that it is almost inhumane, and it makes his scalp numb just thinking about it. How is that possible? The players inside are not much better than you. I can still judge this. Bulma doubted. Haha, I have only had one opponent so far. Huh? Who is it? Wukong. After 8 months of training, Wukong will definitely become very different. Tang En replied matter-of-factly. Wukong. I see. Speaking of which, I haven't seen him for a week. Should we go and see him? Forget it. Grandpa Turtle Immortal must be taking Wukong to practice somewhere else. I don't want to be left behind too much. To be honest, Tang En didn't think Sun Wukong would surpass him in a short time. Moreover, it is obvious that the strongest player in this Budokai is Kamesunjin. After all, after using all his strength to hit the moon with turtle-style Kegong, he was still slightly better than Wukong. His true power should undoubtedly be higher than Wukong. However, Tang En subconsciously wanted to compare with Sun Wukong. After all, the only one on Earth who can put pressure on Tang En now is Wukong. Oh, by the way, there may also be Piccolo from the future. After all, both of them are giant wall hangings from aliens. Next, Tang En began his own gravity practice. With the gravity chamber, the original gravity clothes are no longer needed. After all, there is no real gravity field exercise that is comprehensive. The multiple is adjusted to twice Chinese letter. OK. Kind of uncomfortable. Tang En felt that at this time he had not doubled his weight as he had imagined, but that every cell in his body was bearing a burden. Under such circumstances, Tang En found that no matter whether it was his every breath or every movement, he should be very particular. Otherwise, a lot of energy will be wasted, and simple movements in daily life will become extremely difficult at this time. A bit hyposic, Tang En felt that this environment was obviously dull. Then, Dun began to try to adapt to the environment here. Running, jumping, punching, and doing push-ups, Tang En seemed to be back when he first came to the martial arts gym and began his training career day after day. However, it is very different from before. In this way, Tang En would practice in an environment with double gravity for 5 hours every day. It's not that I don't want to continue, but I really can't bear it. You know, at this time, Sun Wukong can only run with a few dozen kilograms of turtle shell on his back. It wasn't until a month later that Tang En gradually adapted to the double gravity, and the time he spent inside was slowly extended. However, he did not continue to increase the gravity. For him, this environment is enough for now, which can not only effectively exercise his body, but also become familiar with his own breath. I have to say that the combat power detector is really a good thing. At this time, after simple renovation, the combat effectiveness can already be measured to a combat effectiveness of less than Whenever he looked at the increasing data on the detector in front of him after 2 or 3 days of hard training, Tang En felt delighted. 2 words, worth it. With visible progress, Tang En felt that it was all worth it. In this state of mind, the daily hard work does not seem so tiring. Month after month passed like this, and whenever Tang En felt that his strength had improved, he would proudly let Bulma detect it for him, in order to share his joy. Finally, 5 months later, drop, ding dong, a number 84 was displayed on the screen and remained motionless. Neither of them were surprised. After all, they were not unprepared. 84, Tang En, congratulations on your progress again. Bulma said. It's quite satisfactory, but at this rate, I don't know how long it will take to travel around the world. Tang En replied. I found yesterday's PPT by myself. I'm so smart, ha ha ha. By the way, today's recommendation list was updated, and I found that this book ranked over 20 in the newcomer list, and it was also in the top 10 among light novels. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't dare to ask. There will be another update at noon. End of this chapter. Chapter 15, God Fist. Chapter 15, God Fist. Gravity endure the memory of Wukong swirled in Tang En's mind. Tang En sat cross-legged, feeling the heat in his body. Under the experience of countless people, Tang En almost avoided all detours. In just 5 months, Tang En has reached a point that others may not be able to reach in their lifetime. At this moment, Tang En felt the power of his body. He found that he could feel this power clearly and warmly. At present, Tang En's main purpose is to learn to mobilize this energy. This link requires either talent or experience. Saiyans are born powerful, and a superior warrior will have a fighting strength of thousands even if he grows up free. The huge aura made them extremely familiar with this power, and it gradually became engraved in their racial genes, forming a powerful talent. As for experience, Tang En has plenty of it. Moreover, it does not mean that Kakusenin created Wukujutsu and that this martial art is unique to Kakusenryu. After all, he just summarized something from the martial arts of his predecessors. There are not many people in human history who have learned to fly, and Wukong is not a superb martial art. Basically, as long as you have enough strength, roughly grasp the perception of breath, and guide it, you can use it rise. Tang En kept sitting cross-legged, his whole body floating in the air. Next, while maintaining this feeling, Tang En tried to make some moves. At the beginning, it still rocked back and forth, but soon it became easy to adapt to maintaining stable movement in the air, sprinting, punching, and other actions. At this time, only 1 morning had passed. Tang En controlled his body to fly to the floor and took a deep breath. Dancing in the sky is still a heavy load for him at present, and it is far from being used as a transportation skill, but it is not unbearable to move in a short period of time. Then, Tang En looked at those Qigong-like martial arts. After simple thinking, Tang En decided to let them go first. After all, it seems that these skills currently either consume a lot of money or you don't have strong control and may accidentally injure the spectators. In addition to these skills, there are many boxing martial arts. The more famous ones include after shadow boxing, drunken boxing, etc., as well as some low-level 8 hands boxing, sky cross boxing, arhat boxing, etc. are included. Immediately afterwards, Tang En began to browse various boxing techniques one by one and make simple choices. God Fist. What is this? Out of curiosity, Tang En checked it out. Soon, Tang En became interested in this heavenly god fist because it was something left over from the first generation of heavenly gods. Thinking of the sealing technique of the second generation god, the legacy of the first generation god should also be valuable, right? A quarter of an hour later, Tang En took a deep breath, feeling excited in his heart. No way! Exclamation! This heavenly god fist turned out to be a martial art that breaks through its own limits, just like the Realm King Fist, but there is a big difference between the two. As far as Tang En knows, Kyoken is a technique that compresses one's own breath and puts a huge load on the body, thereby causing the body to explode into exponential potential. This kind of boxing technique will be extremely harmful to your body after being used. It is said that the reason why Sun Wukong later suffered from heart disease was related to this. Otherwise, how could the mighty Super Saiyan suffer from heart disease inexplicably? But Tang En doesn't need to worry about whether this rumor is true or not. Anyway, people on Earth will most likely damage their foundation by using this kind of boxing technique. He is not someone who likes to harm himself. Even if he learns it, he can only use low power. However, the heavenly god fist in front of him made Tang En's eyes light up. This boxing technique seemed to be tailor-made for people on Earth. It is not as urgent as Kyoken, but through exercise and meditation, it produces a divine breath in the body. Or it can also be understood that by practicing Tiantian Fist, your body will produce a strange energy. Moreover, this energy can be attached to one's own breath to produce a new breath. The quality of this kind of breath is much higher than that of ordinary people on Earth. The first generation of gods called it the breath of God. The new substances produced through practice are named divine factors. After the divine factor converts the breath into the breath of God, the person's superficial breath will not change. But as long as the Tiantian Fist is used again, the intensity of the breath will be completely different! And one's own strength will also skyrocket, and this only affects the Kai itself, and the burden on one's body is very small. Thinking of this, Tang En's eyes lit up. This means that God's Kai will not have a time limit in battle! If you find that you can't beat him by yourself, you will be like a different person after activating Tiantian Fist. How can it be? This incredible effect made Tang En very curious about the origin of the God Fist. If it was created by a god, it would be too scary. After all, this is Kyo Fist without side effects. However, Tang En was disappointed. There is no memory about the origin of Tiantian Fist. This is different from other martial arts. This shows that this move has only been used by a generation of gods in history and has not been seen by Earth martial artists. Tang En remembered that a generation of gods came out of the underworld, so this god fist was also brought back from it. Although Tang En didn't know the origin of the Tiantian Fist, he was still very happy. He even felt a little fake. Can the Earth god's boxing skills surpass the King of Kai's unique skills? Absolutely impossible. Tang En simply gave up thinking and directly began to meditate on the Tiantian Fist. As Tang En practiced, an inexplicable feeling arose in Tang En's heart. He felt that a very small amount of energy was gradually generated, gathering more and more, and when it reached a certain amount, it would be integrated into his body. But when I deliberately wanted to take a closer look, this feeling became extremely weak. Tang En simply ignored it and concentrated on meditating. The days passed quickly, and 3 months passed quickly. During this period, Tang En not only practiced Tiantian Fist, but also improved Sun Fist, Shadow Fist, Wukong technique, etc. one by one. However, Tiantian Fist is still the martial art that Tang En spent the most time on, and this boxing technique is far from reaching the limit that can be practiced. At this moment, when Tang En runs the heavenly god fist, his aura will probably be raised by half. It can be said that Tang En has surpassed Turtle Immortal at this moment. After all, even if Kame Sunin enters the strongest muscle state at this moment, his combat power should only be in the early S. Or not necessarily. Tang En looked at the sky and imagined what the moon would look like. He felt that he could not blow the moon away no matter what. Yes, it's better to learn this kind of large-scale Qigong just in case something unexpected happens. Tang En thought to himself. In fact, except for the Tiantian Fist, which requires accumulation of boxing skills, other types of martial arts Tang En can basically use by himself after simply watching. After all, I have a solid knowledge base about these skills. After a simple selection, Tang En finally chose Turtle-style Qigong. After all, this Qigong is indeed very good, able to burst out one's own Kai in perfect large doses. The price/performance ratio is very sufficient, and Kamesunrin is worthy of being a master turtle group guest achievement wave! Boom! Tang En squatted down, gathered all the strength in his body, and pushed out with both hands. A stream of white air flew out of Tang En's hand and struck the puppet in the gravity room with a devastating blow. In an instant, Kigong reduced it to ashes! Next, the aftermath rushed out and hit the wall of the gravity chamber. The entire gravity chamber was shaking. Tang En also knew that he had gone astray, and he should not have used it here again. But now that the arrow has come out of the bow, Tang En has no choice but to slowly withdraw his strength, but the Kigong that has been fired will definitely not be recovered. Boom! There was another loud noise, and the super alloy wall made of many metals shattered like glass, and then the gravity chamber completely exploded. Tang En immediately used Wukong technique to fly into the sky. Looking at the disused gravity chamber and the 3 to 4 meter deep pit around it, Tang En fell into deep thought. This is outrageous. How long have you been practicing? Tang En thought that he had only used less than half of his strength at this moment, and he didn't even take out the newly practiced God Fist. Tang En suddenly felt that if he tried his best, it would be possible to miss the moon. Okay. It's been a while since I came here. I'm very happy. Students who have not invested can try to invest, and they can definitely make money. End of this chapter. Chapter 16, the first martial arts club in the world. Chapter 16, the world's martial arts club. During these 8 months, Sun Wukong on the other side also grew rapidly under the guidance of Turtle Immortal. And, just like before, Zhou Wukong met Clin, and the two practiced together to prepare for the world's #1 martial arts meeting. In Tang En, Bulma and Oolong had also been keeping an eye on the time of the tournament. Now the 3 of them have arrived on the Bulma family's private jet to the island where the martial arts tournament is held. It's night now. Is there no one who wants to sign up? The deadline is 12 o'clock today. A person in the venue shouted with a loudspeaker, looking around, waiting for others to sign up. Soon, Kamesunrin signed up for Wukong and Krillin. Immediately afterwards, Turtle Immortal turned his head and said to the 2 people, Wukong, Clin, you go shopping first. The competition will start tomorrow. Don't run too far. Okay. 2 voices came out at the same time. Wow, Krillin, it turns out there are so many people in the world. Little Wukong looked at the crowd around him and exclaimed loudly. On the contrary, Clin seemed more reserved and spoke very quietly. It seemed that he was still not confident enough in himself. Wukong, these people look so strong. Aren't you nervous? Krillin said quietly to Wukong. Huh? But Grandpa Kamesunrin said that we have become very strong. And these people look really weak. Clin, you can definitely defeat them. Little Wukong said seriously. Immediately afterwards, Little Wukong seemed to have thought of something and immediately started to look around. Finally, as if he saw what he was about to find, he shouted loudly, Hey! Tang En, Bulma, Oolong, here! When Tang En and the other 2 heard someone calling them, they turned around and quickly saw Goku and Clin. Long time no see, Wukong. Tang En came over and greeted Sun Wukong happily. When Sun Wukong saw that Tang En had indeed come to participate in the competition, he said excitedly, Twain, you are indeed here. I have always wanted to compete with you again. Tang En smiled and nodded, looking at the little bald man next to Wukong. Tang En thought in his mind that this must be Clin. His aura was very powerful. Hey, Wukong, who is he? Krillin poked Sun Wukong with his finger and said to him, He's my friend, Dun. Then, Sun Wukong pointed at Clin again, turned to Tang En and said, He is Krillin who practiced with me at Grandpa Kamesunrin's place. Then Wukong introduced Bulma and Oolong to Krillin, and several people greeted each other. At the moment, Tang En quietly turned on the combat power detector to observe the current strength of the 2 people. Beep beep Monkey King. 76 Kling. 63 It's amazing. Tang En thought to himself that this data was in line with his own inference, but he still couldn't help but praise Klin. After all, having so much strength is inseparable from his long-term hard work and perseverance. Although he kept falling behind, he never gave up. At this time, Turtle Immortal also came out. Just now, he deliberately sent Sun Wukong and Klin away in order to sign up for the martial arts club under another identity. The purpose is to let the two of them know that there is a way out there, and to prevent their disciples from becoming complacent after getting good results. I have to say that Kame Sento is indeed a competent teacher. Oh, good evening everyone. Kame Senran wears dark sunglasses, a black suit and a black hat, and is dressed like a fashionable old man. Good evening, Bulma-chan. Finally, Kame Senran showed his wretched side and started dancing around, trying to take advantage of Bulma. Old turtle, you must be more virtuous. Bulma has a boyfriend. Be careful that Tang En will knock you down, Oolong said gloatingly. During the time he spent at Bulma's house, Oolong knew Tang En's strength well. It was absolutely terrifying. Thinking of that explosion, Oolong still had lingering fears. Ahahaha, I like to joke. Hahaha. Kame Senan's words suddenly stopped, and then he put his hand in the shape of a fist in front of his mouth and coughed, turning his back to relieve the embarrassment. However, Gixianren's heart is still very restless. Oh, this little guy is so strong, how could this happen? It's really surprising, maybe I'm not even my opponent. Turtle Immortal turned his back to everyone and thought secretly in his heart. Having said that, Kame Sennin doesn't know how to sense breath. But his own long-term experience also makes it easy for him to judge the strength of a person. I wonder to what extent this little guy has practiced during this period of time. Turtle Immortal was very curious. In fact, only a few people knew about Tang En's wish to Shenlong, since Wukong never cared about it, plus no one has mentioned this topic. Sun Wukong has said nothing to anyone at present. Therefore, Gixianren didn't know the situation at that time. Turtle Sennin wanted to use his mind-reading skills to see Tang En's condition, but he quickly gave up. After all, this martial art can only be used on people whose strength is lower than your own. It is easy for people to detect your close strength. Everyone chatted for a while, and then everyone returned to their residences and made an appointment to participate in the qualifiers together tomorrow. After all, it's getting late now, and everyone wants to have a good rest to prepare for tomorrow's game. During this period, Tang En also used a detector to check Kame Immortal's strength. The data showed that it was only 81, but this was definitely not the limit. Speaking of which, the reason why Twain still uses the combat power detector is because Twain currently does not have enough Kai. Although he has a way to perceive Kai in his memory, his sense of Kai is still very vague, and the perception distance is also very short. Close, not as efficient as the detector at all. Tang En planned to wait for a while to improve before completing more advanced training. At this moment, he still wanted to spend the most time on training and the practice of Tianjin Fist. The next day, the prologue of the world's best martial arts club finally kicked off. I didn't expect it to be so crowded, Bulma said. Will there be many players inside? Sun Wukong asked. I think there should be quite a few. Plin responded. At this moment, a person in the venue held a loudspeaker and shouted to everyone, contestants participating in the martial arts competition must pass the preliminaries. Please come to the martial arts hall. Spectators were not allowed to watch the preliminaries, so the crowd parted ways to let the contestants enter. Well, I can only accompany you to this place, and the rest will depend on your own efforts! The 8 people who pass the qualifiers will duel in front of the audience. I will be watching from the audience and hope to see you, Kame Sennin said to Sun Wukong and Krillin, and then changed the martial arts uniforms for the two of them. Kame Sennin watched the 2 people enter. After that, he quietly slipped into the crowd and then squeezed out of the crowd into the grass. Well, change your clothes and disguise yourself before going in. We must win, Tang En. Bulma gave a thumbs up and said to Tang En, "Of course, we have put in so much effort. I won't lose easily," Tang En said with a smile. "The best martial arts club in the world. I am coming. The contract has been sent and it should be signed within 2 days." End of this chapter. Chapter 17, The Birth of the Top 4. Chapter 17, The Birth of the Top 4. Inside the Martial Arts Hall today is the world's #1 martial arts tournament that is held every 5 years. Thank you all heroes for coming all the way. It's really a blessing to all of you. The host of the preliminary competition paused and continued. This conference is to decide who is the best player in the world. 138 players came from all over the country, but only 8 players will stand out and continue the next competition. Tang En turned to look at the unconfident Klin. Just like in the original work, Klin's senior brother at Duelin Temple found Klin and laughed at him severely. The reason why Krillin has always been timid is probably directly related to the shadow he had when he was a child, so that when he later encounters powerful enemies, he will be frightened. The preliminary round is divided into 4 areas. The last 2 people in each area are defeated, and the final 8 candidates will be selected. As for the rules of the game, it is a one-on-one duel on the court. Surrender, falling out of the court, or passing out are considered failures. But there is one rule: no killing is allowed and no weapons are allowed. Now the draw begins. The host of the preliminaries explained the rules of the competition according to the old practice, and then all the participants drew lots one by one to choose each person's opponent. "Wukong, I am No. 87, where are you?" Klin asked Sun Wukong cautiously. "No. 60, I am in the 2nd district," Lil Wukong responded. "Tilde fortunately, the person I least want to fight is you," Klin said with relief. "Oh, is Wukong in the 2nd area? It can't be such a coincidence." Tang En looked at his number 53. He wanted to face Sun Wukong in the preliminaries. "Tang En, do you want to compete with me?" Sun Wukong said happily. "Well, probably not." Tang En glanced at Bai Shi again. Although Wukong and himself were both in the 2nd area, they would not meet in the preliminary round. But this just reminded Tang En that it was time to learn the superpower of manipulating objects, a skill like dumplings. In order to avoid encountering others in the preliminary round in the future, you should learn it yourself. I just don't know if this kind of martial art requires physical fitness, so Tang En is going to try it. As expected, the contestants who met Twain and the 3 in the preliminaries were basically defeated immediately. Klin also successfully defeated the senior brother who bullied him at first, knowing that he had already become very strong. This is not a waste of time to go into details. Soon, Goku and Krillin also advanced quickly, and Tang En was only one final game away. But this last game surprised Tang En. Guess who Tang En met? Wolf Fang Fengfekwan. The fast wind of the fist blocked the surroundings of Tang En, but this level of attack could not do anything to Tang En at all. I saw Tang En dodging quickly, completely avoiding the fists in various positions. To be honest, from the perspective of a person like Tang En who has already been exposed to the aura, this kind of boxing technique is useless. It was neither organized nor powerful, and it was straightforward. Tang En could avoid it by closing his eyes. Yamucha. I didn't expect to meet him here. He didn't meet Monkey King, but he still came to participate in the competition. Tang En looked at the long-haired man in front of him with some emotion. Judging from his breath, the current level of endurance is only 50, which should be weaker than the original. Unexpectedly, the butterfly effect caused by himself made this person even worse. Not only did he become weaker, but he met himself in the first round. Tang En felt inexplicably guilty. Yamucha, I swear I have no ill intentions towards you, but I can't lose to you in the preliminary round. Damn. I've done so much training, why am I still so far behind? Yamucha, who was attacking frantically, looked at Tang En in disbelief. and all his attacks were dodged. Tang En precisely held Yamucha's attacking hands, and then threw him out of the ring with a quick swing. Contestant No. 53 advances to the quarterfinals. Tang En walked towards the incredulous Yamucha under the ring and said to him, "Your attacks are wild and have a mind of their own. But you'd better find a teacher to teach you well, which will be of great benefit to your subsequent practice." The master of Sun Wukong and Klin in this competition is teacher Wu Tian. You can ask him for advice after the competition is over. I hope it will be helpful to you. Tang En can only do so much. He is not a good person either. That's it. It's up to you whether you want to or not. Tang En walked off the ring to receive congratulations from Krillin and Wukong. "Twain, you are really strong. You can block such a sharp attack," Klin said admiringly from the side. In the end, the top 8 people were selected, and they are Tang En, Sun Wukong, Kellen, Jackie Chan, Namo, Lanfeng, Kira, Barbarian. After the quarterfinals selection, everyone had some time to rest. Tang En and the others came out of the martial arts temple to report the good news to Bulma and others. After that, everyone arrived in front of the arena for the quarterfinals competition, and Tang En and the other 3 also returned to the martial arts gym to continue drawing lots to decide their future opponents. It is worth mentioning that this time Tang En has mastered the superpower of controlling the lottery. This skill requires almost no energy consumption, but requires mental energy and is very complicated. Although Tang En knew all the techniques, due to his talent limitations, he could only control very light things and could not use them against the enemy at all. However, it is still possible to observe and manipulate some pieces of paper. Thus, under Tang En's arrangement, the order of the quarterfinals was born. Game: Krillin vs. Barbarians. Game: Sun Wukong vs. Lan Fang. Game: Jackie Chan vs. Nan Wu. Game: Tang En vs. Kira. The situation in the battle was very different, and there were basically no accidents. After realizing that he had no need to be afraid of the stink of the barbarian, Krillin quickly knocked him down. But Wukong had an innocent heart and didn't understand some of Lan Fang's tricks at all, so he won the victory immediately. Tame Sennin saw that Namo was in a bad mood, so he used his mind-reading skills to find out the water shortage in Namu's hometown. Later, after Jackie Chan defeated Nan Wu, he gave him a universal capsule and told him that the water here was free and he could drink it freely. Dun didn't disappoint everyone either. He quickly knocked down Kira without even giving him time to use his skills. In this way, the first round of the quarterfinals ended quickly. The next games will be Goku vs. Krillin and Twain vs. Jackie Chan. After a full meal, Sun Wukong adjusted himself, tightened his belt, and said to Klin, "Klin, I won't show mercy." Klin smiled. "I should be the one to say this, Wukong. If you dare to let go, I will not forgive you." The two looked at each other and laughed, and walked onto the ring together. "Okay. Next, let's invite the youngest contestants in this competition, Monkey King and Kellen." The host, who was wearing a black suit and had brown hair, held the microphone and spoke professionally and with great emotion. It is said that these 2 contestants came from the same school and are both disciples of the famous martial arts master Turtle Sennin. Presumably this game must be a battle between dragons and tigers! Let's wait and see. The audience below burst into cheers. "Come on! Goku! Krillin!" Bulma and Oolong shouted from below, cheering for the 2. "Okay, Wukong, I'm going to start." Klin bent down and said to Sun Wukong, "Come here." Wukong responded, "It has been several years, and I found that when I listen to Lai Ronghao's mahjong, I will be unlucky, so I deleted this song immediately." End of this chapter. Chapter 18. Chapter 18. Who should we root for? The turtle leaned on the fence and sighed. "Of course it's Goku. Goku will definitely win," Bulma said. "But Klin is not bad either," Lan Kai responded. At this moment, a battle between 2 people has begun on the field! Yeah. Thump thump! There was a sound of footsteps and Kellen ran over quickly. Kame Sennin did not teach the two of them any fighting methods, just to let them make their own way. Now Krillin took a stance, approached Sun Wukong and quickly reached out with his right palm. There is no process of accumulating power, just push it flat as a test. But the momentum was not small, and it felt like tearing open a monument and cracking a stone, which made Tang En secretly nod. With this level of power, Klin is really a genius in cultivation. Tang En smacked his lips. As soon as Zhou Wukong came into contact with him, he showed extremely powerful martial arts talent. Almost without warning, he adjusts himself and changes his focus. Wukong borrowed strength from the surroundings to stabilize his form, dodged the blow, and then moved to the side. Then little Wukong quickly started his steps, staggered his palms and low kicks, and launched a wave of strong responses. Alas! Fortunately, Klin has a good foundation and knows Wukong thoroughly. Klin quickly turned around to resist, and the two of them fought several times with each breath, and gradually there was a posture of connecting the attacks together. And gradually the waves are faster than the waves, extremely powerful. The two made a sudden effort, punched each other quickly, and then stood apart. Okay. Jackie Chan, who was standing aside, nodded secretly. The audience in the audience cheered loudly. The fierce battle gave them an excellent visual experience, and they cheered for the two people. It's so exciting. The battle between Goku and Krillin is so exciting. We can't tell the outcome yet, so let's continue to wait and see. The host shouted loudly what exclamation Krillin shouted and circled around Sun Wukong, looking for Wukong's flaws from all angles in order to achieve the best effect of his attack. Wukong, be careful. Little Wukong stood on the spot and lunged, his eyes following Krillin's movements, as if he was ready to go bring it on. Suddenly, Klin launched an attack from behind. Sun Wukong had also expected it and quickly turned around to catch this move. Then, the two of them went back and forth and attacked each other. Klin always wants to hit with a fatal blow, and his attacks are extremely powerful. Finally, Kellen seized an opportunity and wanted to chop Monkey King's neck with a hand knife. However, he was forced back by Wukong's sidekick and had no choice but to continue retreating. Wukong, this guy is still so serious. Krillin turned his head, thinking to himself that he would never be able to defeat Wukong head-on. Moreover, he has already used all his strength, and if he continues to fight, he can only exhaust his physical strength. It seems, Wukong, I know how to defeat you, Flynn said confidently. Eh? Then let your horse come over. I'm not afraid, little Wukong said seriously. There is a turning point. Contestant Kellen claims to have found the weakness of contestant Sun Wukong exclamation. Will there be any results? Let's keep watching. The host shouted loudly. Okay, I'm going to take action, don't be careless, Krillin said, before getting into a stance and approaching Goku, ready to attack. Come on. Little Wukong was overjoyed and said expectantly. Yeah, Klin shouted and rushed forward. But as soon as he took a step, Klin staggered and stopped hastily. Krillin's eyes were facing behind Wukong, very strangely, and he said uncertainly to Wukong "Huh? Wait a moment, Wukong. That person looks similar to you, you can't be related. Huh? Really? Over there? Where? Sun Wukong turned his head, looked back in confusion, and shook his head left and right. It's now. I told you not to be careless. Take the move. Klin, who had been prepared for a long time, quickly kicked Wukong. A strong kick knocked Wukong into the sky, and soon he flew into the sky outside the boundary of the ring. Oops, player Wukong is in danger. If he falls out of the field, the next winner will be player Krillin, the host explained. Klin, this little bald guy is really insidious. He actually made a sneak attack. Oolong crossed his arms and groaned in dissatisfaction. No matter what, it's all about my own strength, but Goku is really in danger. Bulma responded. So, I thought Krillin knew the weakness of Goku's tail. Tang En thought to himself. Since there was no big dispute with the Pilaf trio when collecting the Dragon Balls this time, and Goku also missed the full moon at that time, no one should know about the tale yet. Just when everyone felt that the outcome was decided, Turtle School Kigong Wave, Wukong, who was in the sky, actually sent out a burst of Kigong and relied on the reaction force to return to the ring. It really shocked everyone's jaws. Ah, player Sun Wukong has returned to the ring again. Could the move just now be the legendary turtle-style Kigong? That is teacher Wushen's unique skill, and he is the only one in the world who can use it! I didn't expect that contestant Sun, who is Master Wushen's disciple, can also use it. It's really amazing. Clin, you are so despicable, Wukong said harshly. TCH, it's useless. What a monster, Clin said silently in his heart. I'm going to use my full strength this time, Sun Wukong said. Okay, take action, Clin said reluctantly. Krillin felt bitter in his heart. He had long known that he was no match for Goku. Suddenly, Sun Wukong launched a strong attack on Clin. The rain-like combination of punches made Clin too busy to deal with it and had no time to pay attention. Helen kept retreating, and at this moment he was hit by Wukong from time to time. It hurts so much. When the time is right, Sun Wukong makes another move: fist. Sun Wukong suddenly changed his attack style, leaving Clin in a panic. Immediately afterwards, Sun Wukong seized the opportunity and walked around behind Clin. His right hand turned into a knife, whizzing towards him with the sound of breaking wind, and slapped Clin's back fiercely. Snapped! Clint fell to the ground! There was a burst of cheers from the audience. The winner is Sun Wukong. After the countdown, the host officially announced. Yeah! Sun Wukong slapped Clin awake and smiled. I really can't stand you. You always make me irritated. Clin got up, patted himself, pretended to be very unhappy, and said to Sun Wukong, Thank you, player Sun and player Clin, for the wonderful game. Now let's invite the players for the next game to come on. We invite contestants Twain and Jackie Chan. The referee shouted into the microphone. It's my turn. Tang En nodded secretly. Come on, Tang En. Bulma cheered from the audience. Soon, the two of them were standing on the ring. Tang En looked at the turtle immortal in front of him and seemed quite eager to try. After such a long practice, I am finally going to see the results. Game start! Following the referee's order, the two of them spread out their postures and jumped backwards to stand upright. What a sharp boy, who taught him such a perfect defensive technique, Kame Senin thought to himself. Be careful. Tang En didn't know what Turtle Immortal was thinking, so he immediately launched an attack. Tang En stepped to the side, twisted his waist and punched, his movements extremely smooth. One hand penetrated the ear with a single peak, and with the posture of the sound of golden drums, it went straight to Jackie Chan's temple. Jackie Chan was unhurried, his feet seemed to be taking root, his body was slightly sunk, and he blocked the attack with one hand. Young people are decisive in killing. Then, Kame Senran first grabbed Tang En's wrist with his backhand. Then he launched an attack with his other hand, but was blocked by Tang En. Please give me more advice. The upper bodies of the two men suddenly became stalemate. The two growled and wrestled. Not to be outdone, Tang En moved his steps slightly, using his calves to drive his thighs to exert force, and lowly kicked the opponent's lower body. Jackie Chan could only turn around and dodge, so he let go of Tang En's hand. At the same time, Jackie Chan took a step to the left, revealing the flaw and attracting Tang En to attack his right leg. Tang En was not fooled and distanced himself from Jackie Chan. What a steady boy, Turtle Immortal said secretly. It was just a test. After the scene just now, Tang En discovered that Turtle Immortal's power was similar to his own. He is also very sharp and experienced and even has a lot of physical strength. He is not at all like an old man who is hundreds of years old. He is an extremely difficult opponent. His advantage lies in his many methods and wide range of moves. Tang En was prepared to find out the opponent's background first, and then look at the specific arrangements for the subsequent situation. Tang En thought so. The status has changed and the investment partner has already made a profit, right? Thanks to Zhou Emperor for the 100-point reward. Asking for a monthly ticket, recommended. End of this chapter. Chapter 19, Communication. Chapter 19, Communication. Then Tang En slid closer and kicked exclamation as soon as he was blocked by Jackie Chan. Tang En immediately took advantage of the situation and retreated, widening the distance so as not to give his opponent any chance to take advantage. Tang En found that he was very good at using various kick techniques. Okay. Tang En really got serious and used a combination of kicks that he had been studying for a long time. They all come from the memories in my mind. Different moves, such as side kicks, low kicks, and roundhouse kicks, are all quick skills. In line with the characteristics of each master, they have a strong posture, flexible steps, and strong feet. It really made Jackie Chan a little confused and unable to adapt. Tang En was waiting for the opportunity, trying to find an opportunity to give the enemy a hard blow, but Jackie Chan never gave him a chance. Although he was panicking, he did not lose his method. What a boy, what a murderous spirit. Jackie Chan was also forced to get serious and immediately became wobbly, showing his drunken fist. Tang En gave up taking advantage of the situation to attack for the time being. He knew Drunken Master very well. The most obvious flaws are often the best defenses. Facing this kind of technical martial arts, one must overwhelm them with force and disrupt his rules. When Sun Wukong used the monkey fist to defeat the drunken fist, Tang En used inspiration to use the through-arm fist in his mind. The senior who created this boxing technique said this: the through-arm boxing is like an ape's attack technique, with flexible steps that can be described as elusive. The boxing technique is like a whip or a spear, emitting every inch of strength and penetrating power. It can be said that this boxing technique is quite powerful, but the results are not satisfactory. Tang En originally thought that he could defeat his opponent's drunken fist, but he didn't expect that the two of them were evenly matched. Is this through-arm boxing inferior to monkey boxing, or is this my problem? Tang En thought. This young man's moves are strange, and he only knows the form, but not the spirit. It was just two people like last time. If this continues, the gains will outweigh the losses, but to be able to reach this point, this kid can be considered a genius. Kim Senin decided to help this impure young man, but if he wanted to help him, he had to at least see what he had gone through. Okay. Suddenly, Tang En felt something was wrong. There was a feeling of being spied on that swept through Tang En's mind. Tang En is familiar with the principles of mind reading, but he doesn't want others to see his memories. This can cost people's lives! Although he has already locked up the most important secret deep inside, the effect is still somewhat uncertain. Oh my God, why doesn't this old man fight well? Tang En was a little anxious. In fact, Tang En overestimated the role of Gui Xianren's mind-reading skills. This kind of thing can only allow Kim Senin to see what this person is thinking at the moment. It cannot really read the memory at all, and the strength is still far away. Have you been discovered? It's amazing, after all, you are still so young. Kim Senin said. Peeping into other people's thoughts is immoral, Grandpa Jackie Chan. Tang En said displeasedly that he was extremely sensitive in this regard. The two were silent for a while, then stopped. At this time, the field was full of enthusiasm. After all, the battle at this stage was not too beyond the eyes of ordinary people. Many moves can be seen clearly, so everyone present cheered for the two people on the field. Come on. Done. Defeat that arrogant old man, Bulma said loudly while pressing Oolong's head. Let go. Damn it, you woman. Oolong struggled. Hey, Wukong, has this friend of yours always been this strong? Krillin asked angrily. Well, Tang En is the opponent I have always wanted to defeat, little Wukong replied. Ah, aren't you even a match for Wukong? It's really scary, Plin said in surprise. We have fought before, but it has been a long time. Now I am not afraid of him. Only by fighting will we know who is stronger, Sun Wukong said seriously. Jackie Chan spoke first on the court. He was not as vulgar as before, but looked serious. I'm so sorry. I'm really curious about how you became so different. I mean, in terms of moves, I feel like this is not something that completely belongs to you. Can you tell me about it? Tang En was startled at first, and then remained silent for a moment. Want to say something harmful exclamation. Why are you embarrassed to admit this? Tang En secretly despised himself. It's like this. I made a wish to the dragon and got a lot of martial arts knowledge. Tang En said truthfully. Oh I see, no wonder. Turtle Immortal suddenly realized. Then he was silent for a while, feeling something was wrong, and continued: I can think of such an interesting way. Tang En, right? This is indeed a good way to become stronger. But things that are too easy to get will always make people sink, so you must remember. At this time, Gixinren looked calm and spoke eloquently, which was very contagious. Turtle Immortal said it right. Many things have a certain degree of inevitability. Just like martial arts novels, when a mortal suddenly gains the power of a great master, but does not have the matching state of mind, he may eventually become a demon who regards human life as nothing. Tang En smiled sincerely. He knew that Turtle Immortal was worried about him, but he knew exactly what he was doing. Due to the restrictions of the Earth, Kame Immortal has only seen the strength of 100 or so in his entire life, and he has already reached the peak of the Earth's people at this time. If an ordinary person suddenly gains this kind of strength, will he still work hard with peace of mind? Easily obtained strength is enough to turn his life upside down, and his original goals become insignificant. He can grab as much money as he wants. People who have lost their goals can only chase greater excitement in order to find their own fun, freedom, and even the meaning of life. Then he slowly became more and more greedy, and eventually lost himself and became another person. To take a ready-made example, consider the world of future Trunks. Androids no. 17 and no. 18 probably suddenly gained invincible power, and later discovered that their enemy Sun Wukong was also dead. Having lost their practical significance, they inevitably interacted with ordinary humans. They are extremely proud of themselves as peerless masters. It's okay to be offended once or twice, but there will always be a day when they are offended. However, there is no one in the world who can suppress them, so isn't it normal to be gradually swallowed up by desire? At some point, they will realize that being unrestrained and free is so interesting. By this time, they were already different people. But then again, there is a premise for this, that is, you are aware that you are powerful and transcendent. On this point, Tang En had more foresight than anyone else. Turtle Immortal should have thought that this was a strong person, but he didn't know that there were countless strong people in the universe, and Tang En's strength was not enough to pick his teeth. Not to mention the small strength of less than 100 million. Even if Tang En has a strength of million one day, he will not think that he is very powerful. After all, no one understands the vastness of the world better than Tang En. Tang En knew that Gui Xianren's worries did not conflict with his own goals at all. A large part of the reason why Tang En made a wish to become stronger was because he was guarding. Well, that's it. Only by becoming stronger can he protect Bulma, his friends, and perhaps his future children. No one knows what the future will be like except Tang En. It's not just for the purpose of becoming stronger, but more out of necessity. If you don't find a way, if you don't take advantage of Shenlong's convenience, why should you break through the limitations of the people on Earth? If I were a Saiyan, why would I bother to do so many bells and whistles? After figuring out the reason, Tang En said to Turtle Immortal: Mr. Jackie Chan, I know what you mean, but I have a reason why I have to do it. Please trust me, please. If it is ordinary people, Gixian will not care about them. It is useless no matter how much martial arts a person with evil intentions acquires. No matter how strong a person is, can he still be stronger than the original Demon King Piccolo? Xianren is convinced that even if the great Demon King is born again, he can seal it again at the risk of his life. However, Tang En had a good impression on Turtle Immortal, and he was considered a promising talent, so he kindly reminded him and couldn't bear to see him lose himself. After all, when a person has the idea of getting something for nothing and actually does it, he himself will touch the bottom line of the rules. And people like Kame Sun disdain to use external objects to improve themselves, just like Saiyans disdain to use more to defeat less. The temporary comfort of being powerful on the outside is not as good as the peace, perfection, and fulfillment of the heart. Turtle Immortal's eyes flashed away, and he sighed and said, "In this case, I will use the last trick, hoping to let you recognize yourself." I have to say that Kame Senin is a great person, with many unique features that even the gods cannot match. However, Tang En still felt that he was really harmless. Improving his strength and seeking breakthroughs was what he should do now. Please advise me more. Tang En responded in this way. First day of signing, waiting for the editor to test the waters and recommending end of this chapter. Chapter 20, The God Fist shows its power for the first time. Chapter 20, The God Fist shows its power for the first time. Seeing Tang En's response, Turtle Immortal also smiled. He is very confident in his own strength, and this is by no means his full strength. If the opponent in front of him only had this kind of strength, he would be absolutely sure to win. Okay, then you have to be careful. Kame Senin took off his clothes, revealing his lean muscles. Drink Turtle Immortal pondered and then quickly exerted his strength, and a low muffled sound sounded. Peng! Exclamation. During the process of accumulating power, a faint white fluorescence appeared on Kame Senrin's body, and then the intensity of his breath surged in a short period of time. Gollum, I saw Kame Senin's muscles bulging high, and soon his body doubled in size in an instant! Exclamation, completely subverting ordinary people's cognition. There was shock outside the arena. Even Krillin and Goku were amazed. What a great old man. Soon, Kame Senin completed his transformation and then quickly made an attack move. Tang En recognized it at a glance. This was not the Turtle School Kigong, but the 10,000 Nations shocking palm inherited from Wu Taidu. After Kame Senin finished accumulating his energy, he made a decisive decision and released his moves. IWC shocking palm. Turtle Immortal roared, and a white light shrouded him, then formed a large net, shrouding Tang En, making it impossible for anyone to avoid it. Tang En knew that he could not always avoid such attacks in a small area like the arena, so he simply resisted. Clap. There was a crisp sound, and a thunderous aura hit Tang En! Exclamation. As soon as the thunderous appearance appeared, Tang En's muscles suddenly became numb and he couldn't use any strength. Tang En only felt a sharp numbness in his spine, and his body sank, and then he was lifted directly into the sky. The crackling sound seemed to shatter Tang En to pieces. Pain! Exclamation. It hurts badly. This was Tang En's first feeling. This was definitely the most dangerous moment since he came to the Dragon Ball world. The raging thunder blocked all the pores in Tang En's body, and at the same time, his whole body felt like it was being burned. The severe pain made Tang En couldn't help but cry out. His eyes were blurred, and he shed tears unconsciously. Ouch! Tang En growled. Tang En, how are you? Bulma outside the court saw that Tang En was in a bad situation and shouted loudly, feeling very worried. Jackie Chan made an incredible move and completely suppressed Twain. Twain is in danger. The referee on the side never forgot to explain and said to the audience, "Child, surrender, you will die if you continue to persist." Kame Senin began to pant, and it was obvious that this move was very draining on him. The paralyzing pain in Tang En's body made his thinking extremely slow, and only the remaining willpower was struggling to support him. Tang En couldn't speak and didn't even have time to think. This feeling was very like an electric shock, and he was completely out of control physically and mentally. Oh, growling with difficulty, I can't just to this extent as long as Tang En gritted his teeth and finally found a moment of clear thinking. God fist! Exclamation at this moment. Tang En really felt like he had escaped from death. He was almost unconscious just now. Suddenly, a burst of white light surrounded Tang En's skin. If there is a detector, it can be seen that Tang En's combat power has increased rapidly at this time, breaking through the threshold of in the blink of an eye. Aha! Exclamation. The improvement in strength gave Tang En more clear ideas. Relying on his understanding of the 10,000 Kingdoms' shocking palm, Tang En exploded and broke free from the control of the turtle immortal. Who tilde. Tang En was still frightened and gasped softly, his fingers still trembling without even realizing it. Just what a powerful boy, Came Senin said in surprise. Using this move in his transformed form doubled his energy consumption, and his physical condition at this moment was slightly better than Tang En's. But the breath had been reduced by 1/3. Came Immortal thought for a while and fell into silence for a short time. This is indeed all his current strength. Even using turtle-style Kigum cannot be much better than this situation. This little guy is amazing. Forget it. I admit defeat. Turtle Immortal wiped the sweat from his head and said easily, Huh? What? What a surprise. Contestant Jackie Chan actually chose to admit defeat! Then I declare! The winner of this competition is player Tang En. Yeah. Win. Bulma and Oolong danced. What a powerful guy. I never thought someone could be that strong. Flynn lay on the wall connecting the martial arts hall to the ring and whispered. He still has this vision, but he wouldn't have had a chance to do the Kigum just now. Tang En stopped breathing and looked at Kame Senin, who still had some energy left to jump off the ring, feeling a little uncomfortable in his heart. After all, the outcome of the fight is still unknown. Mr. Jackie Chan, Twain shouted. Turtle Immortal turned his head and looked at Tang En, who was walking over. Actually, I want to tell you that I really hope to reach the true limit of human beings on Earth. Tang En said firmly. Kame Immortal's body trembled, and he looked at the immature child in front of him with a sunny but firm look. At this moment, Gixian seemed to really understand Tang En's mind. At this moment, he felt that Tang En was indeed different from himself and most people. Perhaps the only one similar to him is Wukong Mom. Don't take what I said before. Having said that, with you here, I can end up with peace of mind and my goal has been achieved. Indeed, with the existence of Tang En, it will definitely be extremely difficult for Wukong to win, and Jackie Chan's identity will not matter. Kame Immortal walked out of the ring, put his hands on his back, turned his back to everyone, and walked unfathomably into a deserted bush. Look left and right, well, no one. Wow. This glue makes my old man's head itch to death. If I had known that there was such a monster, I wouldn't have come. Ouch. Ouch. My head pulling off the wig. A red bald head was exposed. Turtle Immortal kept complaining. At this moment, in the competition area, Tang En looked at the happy Bulma outside the court and gave her a thumbs up to show their victory. Twain, you are so strong. I really can't wait to compete with you again. Sun Wukong jumped down from the wall and said excitedly. Tang En responded with a smile, but it was already noon, and the referee decided to take a 2-hour break before starting the martial arts finals. At this moment, there are only a few contestants left in the martial arts gym, and many failed contestants will choose to leave directly. Wukong, Klin, and Tang En ate together. Huh? Why is that old man missing? Isn't he coming for lunch? Wukong said vaguely with his mouth full. I'll probably just leave. After all, you won't get any bonus if you stay, Klin replied. Wukong didn't bother. He was very hungry and kept eating the food in front of him and stopped talking. Tang En looked at Wukong's tail, thinking slightly in his mind. Today is indeed a full moon, and Tang En is thinking about how to avoid Wukong's transformation as much as possible. After all, no one can stop the big guy once he comes out. Find an opportunity to unplug during the game. After all, knowing the dangers of the tail and letting it develop on its own is not Tang En's style. Otherwise, the battle should be resolved quickly without giving him a chance to see the full moon appear. Thanks to Ma Liang under the magic board for your monthly vote! Thanks to Xiaoyao Fighting God for the 100-point reward. I wish everyone will be full of energy every day. End of this chapter. Alright legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.